The NCAA Division III National Championship Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl here in Phenix City, Alabama. Be sure to stay tuned now for this exciting championship game between Wittenberg University and Baldwin-Wallace College, immediately following over most of these ABC stations. NCAA college football. Today from Municipal Stadium in Phenix City, Alabama, the Wittenberg University Tigers take on the Baldwin-Wallace Yellow Jackets for the NCAA Division III championship. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Goodyear, maker of Tiempo, snow tire, rain tire, sun tire, one tire you can drive with confidence all year. By Dr. Graybo, the pipe that's different because it's pre-smoked. Made from imported briarwood, it needs no breaking in. And by IBM, helping put information to work for people. Welcome back to Phenix City, Alabama Municipal Stadium, where they're excited about this game between Wittenberg and Baldwin-Wallace for the NCAA Division III championship, the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl, named for one of the greatest football coaches in the history of college football. If you were with us in the pregame show, we talked about the amazing similarities between these players, teams, coaches, their records, and the fact that they played to a 17-17 tie in their championship game for the Ohio Athletic Conference Championship just 3 weeks ago, that being the only blemish on either team's record. They both come into this game for the national championship at 10-0-1. As we await the arrival of the teams on the field, the Wittenberg captains are now coming out. Wittenberg will be in red. Baldwin-Wallace will be in gold and white with white jerseys. Temperatures are a little bit cooler than we had anticipated today. We were looking for a high, perhaps around 65 degrees. They've crossed us up a little bit. The overcast has not burned off as anticipated as you look at the Baldwin-Wallace co-captains coming out. And with this overcast, our high temperature this afternoon is remaining in the 40s. Whether that will be a factor in the game remains to be seen. There is not much of a wind, which probably won't be much of a factor, but we haven't had much precipitation, and hopefully the field will be in good shape. Good afternoon once again. I'm Steve Zabriskie. It'll be my pleasure to bring you the play-by-play. Our expert color commentator, Rick Forzano, the former head coach at Navy and the Detroit Lions. And Rick, talking about the similarities as we did in the pregame show, what does it come down to as far as the key points for each team to be victorious today?
Well, I think with Wittenberg, I think Dave Merritt has to have a better game than he's had at any time against BW's defense. BW's defense is stronger than Wittenberg's offensive line, so it's going to be a tough matchup there. The other thing is Wittenberg's defense, their secondary, is susceptible to the pass, and you know Baldwin-Wallace runs that run and shoot, sprint out pass type offense. So that will be a key to it. The pass defense of Wittenberg, the ability or inability of Wittenberg's offensive line to defeat and block the defensive line of Baldwin-Wallace.
Baldwin-Wallace's quarterback, Joe Cerniak, number 18. If you were with us in the pregame show, we talked about him and other players. He can also run the football, which makes that run and shoot offense doubly effective. As you look at Wittenberg coming out on the field now, there you see their season record. And again, they will be dressed in red jerseys with white numerals.
I think another point, too, is the fact whether the fine fullback of Baldwin-Wallace, Roger Andrzejczyk, number 34, if he's able to play, because you can't have a guy out of your lineup that has scored 16 touchdowns and is such a powerful runner and a good blocker for the quarterback, Joe Cerniak, when he does sprint out. So Andrzejczyk's injury could play an important part in this ballgame.
And here are the Baldwin-Wallace Yellow Jackets, and their season record, as you see, the same. 10-0-1. Again, they played to that 17-17 tie. This game, however, cannot end in a tie. There are tie-breaking possibilities, and we will explain you those as the game goes along. We'll be back for the kickoff of this Division III NCAA championship game here in Phenix City right after we take this timeout. Stay with us. Toscano ready to bring you the opening kickoff of this Division III NCAA championship game. And the officials for today's game are all from the Atlantic Coast Conference, headed by referee Carl Dean. The field judge, Art Rhodes. The head linesman will be George Manning. The umpire, Clark Gaston. The line judge is Ernest Benson. The back judge, Bob Sandel. And our liaison official is Bill Simpson. All from the Atlantic Coast Conference, as we mentioned. Baldwin-Wallace has won the toss, and they have elected to receive. They will be on your screen to the left as you look at number 90, Steve Jeffress of Wittenberg, getting ready to kick off for the Wittenberg Tigers. Rick Forzano. The players were out on the field before we even came back from the commercial. I think they're ready to play.
They certainly are. Of course, when we were around them last night, where they worked up, the student bodies, so many people have come down from the Ohio area to see this ball game, and the ball clubs are worked up, the fans are worked up, and I'm worked up. It should be a great football game.
Steve Jeffress, number 90. He's a senior from Cambridge, 6'2", 200-pounder. He's a kicker. And you look at the deep receivers. As Jeffress kicks it off. Wujek, Bob Wujek, at the 20-yard line and dropped right there. Wujek will be starting at fullback, probably, for Baldwin-Wallace. Here you see the Wittenberg offense. Chuck Delaney, the quarterback. Steve Fuller, number 32, will be at fullback. And Baldwin-Wallace, however, is on offense, not Wittenberg. So please disregard those names. It'll be number 18, Joe Cerniak. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Cerniak runs the option, picks up perhaps 2 or 3 yards. The tackle made by number 49, Jeff Manchester, the left side defensive end, a junior from Sydney, Ohio. Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. There's the Baldwin-Wallace offensive backfield. Cerniak, Wujek, who returned the opening kickoff. Matt Djansky is in there at wingback. Running back, John Sanner, who will be going in motion quite a bit. The wide receiver, number 84, Dave Ward. 2nd down and 7 from the 23-yard line of Baldwin-Wallace. On a bootleg, Cerniak is dropped right at the line of scrimmage. A good defensive play by number 84, Landers Gaines, the defensive end, a senior from Cleveland.
We might mention, Steve, that Roger Andrzejczyk is in the ball game. He is playing, so that'll be a plus for Baldwin-Wallace if he can stay healthy.
He just came out of the game right now, however. I guess they're giving him a little chance to see how healthy he is. And they did not make that decision until right at kickoff time whether or not Andrzejczyk would play. No gain on the play, perhaps even a loss of a half a yard. It'll be 3rd down and a long 7 as Sanders goes in motion. Gain to the 25-yard line. Wujek is hit by number 68, Joe McDonough, a fine linebacker, the senior from Middletown. Wittenberg looks tough on their first series on defense.
They certainly did, and they made a little change. They went from an odd man front to an even front. It changed the blocking for Baldwin-Wallace.
Number 25, Doug Siefer is into punt. You look at number 35, Jim Awe, back deep to receive along with number 16, John Saxton for Wittenberg. Siefer gets off a good punt, and a fair catch is called for by Awe at the 32-yard line of Wittenberg, and that is where the Tigers will take over 1st and 10. We're just underway in the first quarter with 13-14 to go, and there is no score. A 42-yard punt.
Steve, people just do not return punts on Schieffer and the Wittenberg Tigers, or the Baldwin-Wallace, excuse me.
Here's the Wittenberg offensive backfield. Delaney at quarterback, Fuller, Merritt. The wide receivers are Moon and Davis. They have some speed. 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line. The first series for Wittenberg. Moon in motion. Quarterback, keeper, and Delaney gets a few yards. Paul Petrella, number 59, the fine defensive tackle, and only a sophomore from Mansfield, Ohio, makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace. Here again the line. Jim Donlin, LaForce, Short, Benson, Gray, and Frazier. Wittenberg, as we said, does not throw the ball a great deal. Gain of 2 on the play. 2nd down and 8, just inside the 35-yard line. Delaney on the option, keeps and gets out near the 40-yard line. Number 73, Mike Hoon, the inside linebacker on the left side, a junior from East Palestine, made the tackle. Baldwin-Wallace on defense. Buchanan, Johnson, Zito, Davis, Rudlowski, and Reichert. The linebackers on the inside are Hoon and Monda. There are a couple of good ones. In the secondary, we have Stelter, Paschke, and Rush. A 3-deep secondary for Baldwin-Wallace. They are tough on defense, allowing only 9 points per game and 103 yards per game rushing. On 3rd down and 4. The pitch back to Merritt. Merritt close to first down yardage as he crosses the 40, gets out to about the 43, where Mike Kuhn, the linebacker, again makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace. The officials take a timeout as we look at it again.
You know, it's that same play we keep talking about Chuck Delaney being able to run the option. That time he kicked the ball out to Merritt. Merritt turned it upfield, but Paschke came up and made an excellent play.
It's enough for the first down as they have moved it out to the 44-yard line. The first down of the ball game. Wittenberg moving in their own territory. No score. Delaney to pass under pressure, tries to dump it off to Merritt. Whether or not it was a lateral, the whistle was not blown, so it must have been ruled a lateral, and Merritt picks it up and moves it out near midfield. Delaney getting the ball to Merritt just as he was hit by Gary Munda, who tackled Merritt downfield.
Boy, Merritt showed some good intelligence right here because it was a lateral. Delaney is hit just as he throws the ball. Now Merritt, there's his alert. He runs with the football. Baldwin-Wallace defense kind of relaxed. It turned out to be a good game. They now got 2nd down about 4 yards. Alertness by Merritt.
He's an elusive one, all right. A gain of 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4. The ball just at midfield. Merritt out of the tailback position. Near the 45-yard line, bumped out of bounds on the far sideline after he picks up very close to first down yardage. Number 85, Bill Reckert, the outside linebacker from Greenville, Pennsylvania, makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace. And they mark it right at the marker. It is a first down once again for Wittenberg.
You know, Merritt hasn't had some of his best days against Baldwin-Wallace, but he is such a threat every time he gets his hands on the ball.
The Tigers have now moved into Baldwin-Wallace territory. 1st and 10 at the BW 46-yard line. Again, it's Merritt, and this time he's dropped for a big loss. An excellent defensive play by number 62, Bill Davis, defensive end, a senior from Cleveland, Ohio.
Well, this time they had Merritt lined up at fullback, and they pitched the ball out. But Bill Davis, number 62, did an excellent job of shedding the blocker, getting penetration, and making the tackle.
The loss is all the way back into Wittenberg territory. They mark it at the 48-yard line. It'll now be 2nd down and 16 yards to go. Coming into the game, number 83, a wide receiver, Cliff Davis, with the play for Chuck Delaney. 2nd down and 16. Whistle blows before they can get the play away, and it might be a delay of game against Wittenberg. Yes, it is. The clock stops with exactly 10 minutes to play in the first quarter as you see the referee give the signal, and they will mark off 5 yards, and now it'll be 2nd down and 21 for the Wittenberg Tigers.
Now that really puts Wittenberg in a bind because, as we point up, they're not really much of a passing team. And when you come up with 2nd and long like this, the pressure really goes to the quarterback, Chuck Delaney.
A reminder, immediately following this game, Army-Navy from Philadelphia, a classic matchup over most of these same ABC stations. Wittenberg out of the I formation on 2nd down and 21 yards to go. A draw play to Merritt. Merritt makes a man miss and gets to midfield, fumbles the football, and I believe Baldwin-Wallace has recovered at their own 49-yard line. After a good gain, Merritt was stripped of the ball, and it is Bill Davis who comes up with a fumble recovery after making an excellent defensive play before. Davis recovers a fumble for Baldwin-Wallace.
Boy, there you're going to see Merritt now in a little delay, like a sprint draw. He's staying in the backfield. He has a nice hole open up. He's carrying the ball awfully loosely right there. He makes a good move to get away, but he's stripped of the ball right there. Big play, big turnover for Baldwin-Wallace. Andrzejczyk
and Wujek are in the backfield as Cerniak pitches to Wujek. Wujek trying to cut upfield, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Number 46, Kermit Smith, makes the tackle for Wittenberg. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And you look at Bill Davis on the sideline, who's made a couple of excellent defensive plays this afternoon for Baldwin-Wallace, just recovering that fumble.
He's got a leg up on that Chevy Defensive Player Award already.
I'd say he's the front runner. 2nd down and 10. Baldwin-Wallace at their own 49. Center in motion. Incomplete, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, number 82, Ron Royster. Defending on the play, number 35, Jim Awe, senior from Mansfield, Ohio. It'll be 3rd down and 10 now as Baldwin-Wallace tries to capitalize on the turnover. They have gained nothing in 2 plays.
82, Ron Royster was open on that play. All he did was throw the ball a little poorly because they had an opening. They had cleared out the inside.
Now double wing formation for Baldwin-Wallace on 3rd and 10 from their own 49. Cerniak complete to number 42, Jose Tirado, their leading receiver, and Tirado's bumped out of bounds at the Wittenberg 39-yard line by number 10, Chris Fields, a sophomore from Columbus, but it is enough for a 1st down for Baldwin-Wallace in Wittenberg territory. That's a big play, Rick.
It certainly was. And Joe Cerniak showed a nice touch that time. He just laid the ball out there to number 42, Jose Tirado. It just worked out perfectly. And boy, that's a tough little pass to throw by a quarterback.
They mark it just inside the 40-yard line of Wittenberg, a gain of 12 yards on the play. We have 8:50 to go in the 1st quarter, no score. 1st and 10, Baldwin-Wallace. Cerniak over the middle, complete to number 44, Matt Dejensky, the wingback on the left side, the sophomore from Parma, Ohio. Chris Fields, number 10, makes the tackle once again for Wittenberg.
Well, that time Wittenberg had a lot of people coming, and Cerniak has to get rid of the ball in a hurry, and Dejensky really keeps concentration. Look at that. He's going to get hit right now. Boy, that was a big play by Matt Dejensky.
It was big enough that they have brought the chains out now to see if it was 10 yards. They just missed it by about 6 inches, as you see, maybe a little more, maybe a foot. As the officials indicate, it'll be 2nd down and about 1/3 of a yard to go. Cerniak now has hit on 2 of 3. His first 3 attempts this afternoon, 2 completions for 21 yards so far. 2nd down and about a foot to go. The ball just inside the Wittenberg 30-yard line. And Cerniak's going to do it himself, and he drives behind the middle of that Baldwin-Wallace offensive line down near the 25-yard line for the 1st down. Mike Early, number 75, a defensive tackle from Brookville, Ohio, makes the tackle for Wittenberg.
Boy, the guards and centers, number 64, Mike Kelly, number 56, Phil Quick, and number 67, Bill Neese, just blew him out of there that time. Watch this now with old Cerniak. See them blow it out of there. Boy, is that Cerniak got powerful legs.
On 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line of Wittenberg. Short gain of about 2 yards. Down to about the 23-yard line. Mike Early, number 75, makes the tackle on Wujek, along with number 49, Jeff Manchester. Sometimes, Rick, you'll hear the Baldwin-Wallace fans making a sound that sounds like booing, but actually they're saying woo for big Wujek. He and Andrzejczyk make a fine ball-carrying tandem for Baldwin-Wallace. Wujek now 3 carries for 4 yards so far this afternoon. Andrzejczyk, very short yardage, perhaps a yard or 2 down near the 20-yard line. Number 16, John Saxton, came up from the secondary along with number 45, Dale Bradford, the left side linebacker, to make the play for Baldwin, or rather for the Wittenberg defense.
Well, that time they ran the option into the short side, and when he kicked the ball out to Andrzejczyk, he didn't have that much room to run. Therefore, Wittenberg was able to make a pretty good play.
Again, the double wing formation on 3rd down and 5 at the 20-yard line as center goes in motion for Baldwin-Wallace. It's complete, and again, it's number 44, Matt Dejensky, on the receiving end of number 84, excuse me, was the receiver. Dave Ward, the wide receiver. Chris Fields, number 10, again, making the tackle for Wittenberg, but it's a 1st down deep in Wittenberg territory.
Again, Cerniak shows the touch, and again, great concentration by the receivers for Baldwin-Wallace. That time, number 84, Dave Ward. Boy, he had to really concentrate because that defender was coming up to stick him.
No way you can stop that pass. Fields was right there, but the pass was right on the money. It is now 1st and 10. The ball at the 11-yard line. Cerniak on the pitch. Wujek at the 10, running hard, and runs down to about the 7-yard line. Jim Awe, number 35, came up from the secondary to meet him head on.
Again, when you have a quarterback like Cerniak who can run the ball, look at that. He's hit, but he still kicks the ball out to Wujek. Now watch Wujek turn the ball up toward the goal line and punish the defender.
It is now 2nd down and 6 yards to go at the 7. They can get a 1st down at the 1-yard line. Baldwin-Wallace moving with no score here in the first quarter. Center in motion. Fake. Bootleg. Cerniak at the 5. Down to the 3-yard line. Sexton up from the secondary, number 16, along with Dale Bradford, number 45, as Cerniak shows he's a tough runner as well as a player with good speed.
Well, Cerniak averages on about 5 yards per carry. Now, this is a bootleg. He sees a little opening. He turns it up again. He just refuses to go down.
The third first down of the ball game. Or rather, Baldwin-Wallace has 3 first downs. They can get a first down. It is now 3rd down and 2 at the 3s. Andricek, nowhere to go as Wittenberg stiffens and stops him right at the line of scrimmage. Andricek playing hurt, remember. He's had a shoulder injury and a hip pointer. But he is in the lineup. Landers Gaines, number 84, makes the tackle for Wittenberg, and they will kick it, Rick.
Well, I'll tell you, Tim Robinson, number 91, the field goal kicker for Baldwin-Wallace. He's a good one, I'll tell you, and this is kind of a chip shot for him here. But should this end up in just a field goal, I'm sure Wittenberg would be very happy about the outcome.
This drive started with the turnover, remember, and Baldwin-Wallace is driven right down the field, and they get 3 points out of it. As Tim Robinson, number 91, a sophomore from North Royalton, makes it 3-0 Baldwin-Wallace. With 4:37 to go in the first quarter, we'll return to Phenix City in just a minute. Lead on a field goal by number 91 Tim Robinson, a 51-yard drive in 12 plays in 5 minutes and 17 seconds after a turnover, a fumble recovery by number 62 Bill Davis of Baldwin-Wallace, and they lead Wittenberg 3-0 here in the first quarter with 4:37 to go. Back deep to receive Meso Moon and Dave Merritt as Robinson kicks off for Baldwin-Wallace. Merritt comes up to take it at the 7-yard line, at the 20. And out across the 25 to about the 26-yard line, where Wittenberg will go back on offense for their second offensive series. Paul Petrella, number 59, makes the tackle on the kickoff, the senior from Mansfield for Baldwin-Wallace.
Boy, in a game like this, I'm sure it's Lee Tressel is very happy to go on top 3-0. It's always an advantage. You always tell your youngsters, try to score first in a ball game like this.
Remember, they are playing for the national championship of NCAA Division III. Chuck Delaney, number 12, brings Wittenberg up on 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Merritt out near the 30-yard line for a gain of about 5. Paul Petrella, number 59, again makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace. A gain of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5 at the 30.
So that Paul Petrella, he may have a hip pointer, but he is all over that field, Steve-O.
On 2nd down and 5. Merritt is in the backfield now along with Dave Miller. Fuller carries out to about the 33-yard line, a gain of 3 on the play. Bill Rickert, number 85, makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace. As the Yellow Jackets of Baldwin-Wallace lead Wittenberg 3-0 with 3:40 to go in the first quarter. 3rd down and a long 2 for a first down for Wittenberg. Merritt on the pitch. Merritt right at the line of scrimmage, thrown back. Number 37, Gary Stelter, the fine secondary cornerback, the senior from Youngstown, coming up to make the initial hit on Merritt.
Well, the young man that made the big play on that, I feel, was number 89, Fred Buchanan, the defensive end for Baldwin-Wallace, because he got penetration, slowed Merritt up, and allowed the secondary to come up and make the tackle.
You don't think they're fired up? Just look at Gary Stelter coming off the field. So Wittenberg will have to punt. Dave Miller, number 22, is in to punt. Back deep to receive John Center, number 24, number 3, Ralph Young. Center calls for the fair catch at the Baldwin-Wallace 22-yard line. And with 2:44 left to go in the first quarter, Baldwin-Wallace leading Wittenberg 3-0. We'll be back for more NCAA football in just a minute. The first quarter, Baldwin-Wallace leading 3-0 and going back on offense. 1st and 10 at their own 32-yard line.
Come on up.
Joe Cerniak, number 18, leads them up. Senior from Fairview Park, Ohio. A double wing set again as center comes in motion. Andrzejczyk the only back, and the sprint out pass again complete to Jose Tirado at the 40-yard line. Again, he's dropped immediately by Jim On, number 35, but that play, Rick, is working every time.
It's amazing because what happens, they send the man in motion. They flood 3-4 receivers to one side. Now you watch Joe Cerniak throwing to Jose Tirado. He's wide open because they've got him outnumbered on the motion side.
A gain of 8 on the play. It's 2nd down and 2. The ball right at the Baldwin-Wallace 40-yard line. Again, center in motion. This time they're going to throw the halfback pass. Intended for number 82, Ron Royster. They say it was a fumble, and it is recovered by Baldwin-Wallace. Down to recover it was Dave Ward, number 84. The pass thrown by Keith Zeman was complete, then fumbled, and falling on the ball, Dave Ward, number 84, picks up a few extra yards for Baldwin-Wallace.
Now, number 40, Keith Zeman, he is 2 for 4 passing this year already. You see the little fake to Andrzejczyk. Zeman comes back. They kick the ball to him. He throws the ball downfield to number 82, Ron Royster, who fumbles. And alertly now, watch that ball lay in there, and it's recovered by Baldwin-Wallace.
At the 19-yard line, in and out of the hands of number 82, Royster. John Saxton, number 16, defending on the play for Wittenberg. As that play carries them now to the 19-yard line, where it will now be 2nd and 10 for Baldwin-Wallace.
Boy, Steve, I'll tell you, that motion pass, that sprint out pass, the man making that little turn in is open every time. All Cerniak has to do is hit him, and the guy has to catch the football.
Cerniak now 4 of 6 for 39 yards so far today. Baldwin-Wallace with 2nd down and 10 from the 19-yard line of Wittenberg. He wants to throw it again, complete to Jose Tirado inside the 15-yard line. At the 14-yard line, it will not be enough for a first down. The clock running with 1 minute and 45 seconds to go in the first quarter of play. Baldwin-Wallace leading 3-0 over Wittenberg.
You know, Steve, at the beginning of the show, we said that the Wittenberg defense, pass defense, was suspect. And right now, boy, I'll tell you, Baldwin-Wallace is testing it.
Again, a double wing formation on 3rd down and 5 from the 14. And again, center goes in motion. Again, the pass is complete. I think they were looking for the flea flicker that time, Rick. I think he wanted to pitch it out to Sander, who was sweeping around left end. The completion to Dave Ward, I think Ward wanted to pitch it.
Again now, the problem right now is that Wittenberg is not getting much underneath help by their linebackers, and you see it's wide open. It is tough for a defender to handle that one-on-one. Dave Ward just came open on the turn.
It is now 1st down and goal at the 8-yard line for Baldwin-Wallace. They are threatening here near the end of the first quarter, leading 3-0, and Cerniak wants to put it up again. Almost intercepted by John Saxton, number 16 of Wittenberg, as he was looking for Tirado again at the goal line.
John Saxton, as we pointed out, he has a real nose for that football. That time he read the quarterback's eyes, came in, made a good pass defense move.
That'll bring up 2nd down and goal at the 8-yard line. The clock stopping with 56 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
There it is. Good play, John Saxton, number 16. Boy, he went to the football.
2nd down and goal at the 8. Baldwin-Wallace has already gained 100 yards of offense. Tirado in and out of his hands at the 2-yard line. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd and goal at the 8. The clock stops with 53 seconds to go in the quarter. Again, Saxton was defending on the play, and that Saxton-Tirado matchup is going to be something we'll be watching all afternoon.
Cerniak has a strong arm. He can drill that ball in there.
Into the game, Ron Royster, number 42, replaces Jose Tirado on 3rd down and goal at the 8-yard line. Again, Sander comes in motion. And again, Cerniak sprints out and throws it over the end zone, intended for number 84, Dave Ward. Roger Brown was defending on the play, but the ball was just thrown away. It'll be 4th and goal, and the kicking team is on for Baldwin-Wallace once again as Cerniak comes off.
That time they did a little something different. Cerniak sprinted out to his right. Instead of throwing to the flooded side, he tried to throw back, but threw out of the end zone.
Fred Martin will hold for 91 Tim Robinson, who kicked one a moment ago. This one will be from the 15. It'll be a 25-yard attempt. Line drive shot, no good. Misses off to the right. Just didn't get good contact on the ball that time with 45 seconds to go in the first quarter, and Baldwin-Wallace leading 3-0 will return to Phenix City after these messages. Will take over as we return to Municipal Stadium in Phenix City, Alabama. After the missed field goal attempt by Robinson, Wittenberg goes on offense at the 20-yard line since the attempt was from inside the 20. Wittenberg trailing 3-0. Chuck Delaney brings them out 1st and 10 at their own 20. Fuller hit right behind the line of scrimmage, coming through very quickly. Number 73, Mike Hoon, who shot the gap and met Fuller behind the line of scrimmage. Fuller fought his way about to the 20-yard line. No gain on the play, perhaps maybe a half a yard. It'll be 2nd down and a long 9.
Well, that Baldwin-Wallace defense, they hit the gaps and they come from the unexpected places. That time, the linebacker was just unblocked.
2nd down and 9 as we're nearing the end of the first quarter. Delaney on a keeper. Out across the 25-yard line to about the 26-yard line. Number 12, Carl Matthews, the outside linebacker, the junior from Chatham, New Hampshire, came up to make the play for the Baldwin-Wallace defense. And time has run out at the end of the first quarter here at the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl in Phenix City, Alabama. Baldwin-Wallace leads Wittenberg 3-0, and we'll be back. Wittenberg has a 3rd down and 4 at their own 26-yard line, trailing Baldwin-Wallace 3-0 in this Division III NCAA National Championship game. Power I formation in the backfield. On the pitch to Merritt. Merritt at the 30-yard line breaks the tackle, gets out near the 40-yard line, picks up more than enough for the 1st down. Paul Petrella, number 59, the defensive tackle, the senior from Mansfield, make the play.
Boy, Paul Petrella, 188-pound defensive tackle. Now watch him shed the block. Now watch him run to the sideline. Just, boy, he is determined. He has the speed. He has the quickness. He's going to get there come hell or high water. Look who makes the tackle. Boy, that is determination. You can learn from that.
Merritt now has gained 39 yards on 8 carries. As you look at Petrella lining up for the next play, it is 1st and 10 Wittenberg at their own 40-yard line. I formation in the backfield. Buckley, the fullback, running hard and getting short yardage across the 40-yard line to about the 41 or 2. 89, Fred Buchanan, and number 46, Gary Monda, make the defensive play for Baldwin-Wallace.
Paul Petrella, look at him now. He sheds the block. He gets underneath, makes the play again. Well, when they say he's a potential All-American, it's right there.
He's on the bottom of most of those piles. It's 2nd down and 8 after the gain of 2. Wittenberg moving here in the second quarter, trailing 3-0. Delaney to throw. It's complete to number 83, Cliff Davis. Davis fumbles the ball at the 40, and Baldwin-Wallace has recovered. Number 14, Doug Rush, a senior cornerback from North Canton, Ohio, recovers the fumble, and after a good game by Wittenberg, Baldwin-Wallace gets another turnover.
Well, that's a shame because a nice grab was made there by Cliff Davis. Again, good concentration on the football. He fumbled the ball. Doug Rush comes up and makes a big play.
That was the first pass that Wittenberg has thrown this afternoon. It was completed. But however, the fumble gives the ball 1st and 10 to Baldwin-Wallace at their own 40-yard line. Wujek hitting into the middle of the line and getting short yardage out to about the 42-yard line. 73, Joe Govern, a defensive tackle, a junior from Macedonia, Ohio, makes the tackle, a 6'1", 210-pounder.
I'll tell you, as we take a look at the statistics there, it's Baldwin-Wallace. First quarter, all Baldwin-Wallace.
110 yards to 39 yards with a big statistic. On 2nd down and 9. Play action pass, and Cerniak is hit from the blind side and dropped for a big loss by number 49, Jeff Manchester, the left defensive end, a 190-pound junior from Sydney, Ohio. A great defensive play, and that moves the ball back to the 35-yard line of Baldwin-Wallace.
That's the best pass defense you can have right there, is have your line rush the passer like number 49, Jeff Manchester, did there.
It'll be 3rd down and 15 now as we have 13 minutes to go here in the first half of play. Baldwin-Wallace still leading 3-0. 3rd and 15 from their own 35. Wujek in motion. Andrachek. And Andrachek is going nowhere. Hit right at the line of scrimmage by number 73, Joe Govern, along with number 45, Dale Bradford. making the defensive stop for Wittenberg, and Baldwin-Wallace will have to punt.
Wittenberg made another nice move that time. Number 51, Scott Gray, the middle guard, offset the center a little bit and plugged up the hole on Andruszek.
Number 25, Doug Sheeper, back to punt. The 6'1", 195 sophomore hits a low line drive squibber that rolls, will not be returned, and is going to turn out to be not bad inside the 30, down to the 26-yard line where it is downed. And so Wittenberg will go back on offense. Baldwin-Wallace unable to capitalize on another turnover with 12:21 to go in the first half. It's Baldwin-Wallace 3, Wittenberg nothing. To go in the first half of play. Wittenberg going back on offense after the 45-yard punt. It didn't look very good when it started out, but it turned out to be great.
That was the lowest punt I've ever seen in my life, I think. It was about 6 feet off the ground all the way.
Nearly took somebody's head off. 1st and 10, Wittenberg at their own 26. Buckley. Short yardage on the play. Number 46, Gary Monda makes the tackle. Buckley punches it out to about the 30-yard line. A gain of 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for Wittenberg.
Well, the Baldwin-Wallace coaches have a lot of respect for number 46, Gary Monda, their linebacker. They call him their quarterback on defense.
And you have to have that leadership. That's one thing that has made Baldwin-Wallace's defense so effective. On 2nd down and 6, Delaney on the option to Merritt. Merritt trying to turn the corner, gets back to about the 35-yard line, picks up 5 of the 6 yards needed. They mark it at about the 34. It'll be 3rd down and 2 yards to go. Bill Record, number 85, and number 57, Chris Zito, made the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace.
Excuse me, Steve, that Baldwin-Wallace defense, they can pursue to that ball. They are quick.
Merritt now has gained 43 yards on 9 carries. Buckley, very, very short. Not enough for the 1st down. Chris Zito, number 57, and 89, Fred Buchanan, the left side defensive end, stop in short of the 1st down, and Wittenberg will have to punt.
That was an excellent defensive play. That time the Baldwin-Wallace defense, they just surged and got penetration, didn't allow the ball carrier to make the 1st down.
4th down and a long one to go. Dave Miller will be in to punt, number 22, whom you see there. John Sanner and Ralph Young back deep to receive for Baldwin-Wallace. Sanner calls for the fair catch at the 32-yard line of Baldwin-Wallace. And the Yellow Jackets will go back on with 10 minutes and 34 seconds left to go at the half. Baldwin-Wallace leading 3-0 will return. Baldwin-Wallace will have a 1st and 10. The ball at their own 32-yard line, make it the 33, really, closer there. Cerniak, number 18, leads them out. They lead 3-0. We have just over 10.5 minutes to go in the first half. Again, the double wing set offensively in the backfield for Baldwin-Wallace, and again, Sanner is in motion. Intended for Sanner, complete at the 34-yard line. He's bumped out of bounds across the 35. Let's take this opportunity to remind you of 2 big nights of football coming up here on ABC. In addition to today's outstanding program, a special Sunday edition of NFL football, and what a big one it is. Denver and Oakland tied in the AFC Western Division, both at 8-5, leading that division, and the loser, Rick, might be out of the playoffs in that game. Then on Monday night, the San Diego Chargers and the Chicago Bears, Lydell Mitchell and Walter Payton. 2 big NFL nights, Sunday and Monday, here on ABC. The handoff to Keith Zeman on the inside counterplay loses yardage as Wittenberg's defense was up to it. Number 51, Scott Gray, penetrating to make the tackle.
Steve, we talk about Paul Petrella for Baldwin-Wallace. Number 51, Scott Gray for Wittenberg, has made about 3 or 4 good plays. He's their nose guard. He's playing over the center. He's getting in a gap. He's getting penetration. He's making it tough for the Baldwin-Wallace offensive line to block him.
A loss back to the 34-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 8 yards to go. Complete to Sanner. On a swing pass, Sanner breaks away at the 40, 45, 50. He crosses into Wittenberg territory and runs inside the 40-yard line, about the 38. A play that looked initially like it wouldn't go for much turned out to be a huge gain into Wittenberg territory, as again, Cerniak has hit that swing man every time.
Well, I'll tell you, Sanner is one of his favorite receivers, and he shows excellent running ability. All it was is a little flare pass down the field, and they took advantage of the fact that they can block while the ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage.
9 minutes to go in the first half. Baldwin-Wallace driving and leading 3-0. And again, Cerniak wants to throw, and again it's complete. This time to Matt Dajansky, number 45 Dale Bradford, and number 10 Chris Fields over there to stop him. But again, it's a good gain, and Baldwin-Wallace, Rick, will use that play all afternoon until Wittenberg proves they can stop it.
Well, you know why they call it the run and shoot offense. I'll tell you, they come sprinting out with the ball. But one thing you have to remember about Wittenberg, they may move the ball down from the 20s to the 20 or 10 to 10, but I'll tell you one thing, they have a tough inside the 10.
Cerniak 9 of 13 for 91 yards. A gain of 7 makes it 2nd down and 3, and again he hits Dajansky inside the 25. It's a first down at about the 22 or 3 yard line. 49, Jeff Manchester covering on the play for Wittenberg.
Again, I'll tell you something. This Matt Dajansky has made 2 or 3 concentrated catches. I'll tell you, that's difficult in there. That's in traffic, and that Cerniak can put the ball on the money.
It is 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line of Wittenberg. And they're going to run it again, but this time Sander can't hold on to the swing pass to the left side. And it is ruled incomplete at the 25. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Kermit Smith defending on the play for Wittenberg.
Well, I'll tell you, that passing attack that Baldwin-Wallace has, they really stretch you wide to the sideline with that motion, and then they hit the motion guy if you don't cover him. If you cover the motion guy, they hit that little turn-in inside.
You were talking about Baldwin-Wallace moving the ball up and down the field. They have well over 100 yards in offense already and only 3 points to show for it.
Well, that's what counts. If you can put points on the board, or you can keep them from putting points on the board.
2nd and 10 from the Wittenberg 22. Again, center in motion out of the double wing set. And again, Cerniak wants to throw. This one's going into the end zone. Intended for Toronto. Back defending was number 18, Roger Brown, a junior. 6 feet, 175-pound defensive back. He had Toronto well covered, but the ball was not really on the money.
Well, that time, Wittenberg put a little pressure on. They blitzed their safety, Chris Fields. They hit all the gaps, and Cerniak didn't have that much time to throw the football. Good defensive play by Wittenberg.
Wittenberg has shown so far that they do toughen up on defense. Wittenberg trailing, however, 3-0 with 7:45 to go. Again, the double wing set. This is 3rd and 10 from the 22. Cerniak looking at the goal line, complete. The number 84, Dave Ward, inside the 5 at the 3-yard line. Dale Bradford on the stop for Wittenberg, but it is 1st and goal at the 3.
Well, Cerniak shows a lot of poise in here. He's looking to the outside. Now you just watch number 84, Dave Ward. He throws it back to the backside. Cerniak showed a lot of patience, a lot of poise, waiting for number 84, Dave Ward, to come open.
Baldwin-Wallace with another threat. And now they want to take a timeout. Baldwin-Wallace calls the timeout. Cerniak is hit on 11 of 17 for 118 yards and comes over to talk to Lee Tressel. So we'll take a timeout, too, with 7:22 to go in the first half, and Baldwin-Wallace leading 3-0. Along with Rick Porzano, as you look at Dave Maurer, the Wittenberg coach, whose Tigers are backed up at the 3-yard line now. Baldwin-Wallace has gained 175 yards in offense this half. They lead 3-0. They're threatening to score with a 1st and goal at the 3. Full house backfield. Center wants to throw the option pass. Throws back to quarterback Cerniak. Touchdown. A little razzle-dazzle from Baldwin-Wallace as they ran a full T backfield. Sander threw back to the quarterback for the touchdown, the first touchdown of the game, and it is 9-0 Baldwin-Wallace with 7:17 to go in the first half.
Well, I tell you, that was an exceptional call by the offensive people at Baldwin-Wallace, because I tell you, you wouldn't expect them to throw back on the quarterback, being there, having 1st down on the 3-yard line. Just an excellent play call.
We talked to the coaches whether they were going to add a new wrinkle. They both said, no, we're going to go with what brought us here. That's the first time they've ever run that play. Tim Robinson with the extra point is good. It is 10-0 now with 7:17 to go in the first half, as Robinson will come back now to kick off. Let's take another look at the touchdown play, Rick.
Just watch. Cerniak hands the ball, pitches the ball to Sander, and he gets himself lost on the right side of your screen. It's tough to have coverage on the quarterback. Cerniak touchdown. But I'll tell you, John Sander threw 5 passes this year. He was 2 for 5. Now, baby, he's 3 for 6 and a big touchdown.
I guess those coaches didn't trust us, Rick, when we asked them if they were going to put in some new wrinkles, because Baldwin-Wallace had never run that throwback to the quarterback before.
Well, you must have had that guilty look, not me.
Briefly to recap the scoring for you in the first quarter, Baldwin-Wallace took a 3-0 lead on a 24-yard field goal by Robinson. And here in the second quarter, a 3-yard pass centered to Cerniak. Robinson's kick makes it 10-0 Baldwin-Wallace. And they have, in all fairness, dominated offensively so far, although Wittenberg has given up most of the ground very grudgingly. Wittenberg has hurt themselves with a couple of turnovers, giving the ball back to Baldwin-Wallace. The deep man back to receive by number 27, Maso Moon, and number 26, Merritt. Merritt out to the 26-yard line, and he's smothered right there. 58, Glenn Lair, a junior from Marlington, makes the tackle. Wittenberg goes on offense, and they need to get something generated. They have moved the ball well, but they have hurt themselves with a couple of key turnovers. That scoring drive, 9 plays, 40 yards, and 3 minutes and 17 seconds of elapsed time for Baldwin-Wallace to take a 10-0 lead. Wittenberg, 1st and 10 at their own 27.5-yard line. Delaney on the option, pitches to Merritt. Merritt hit right at the line of scrimmage, falls forward to the 30-yard line. Number 62, Bill Davis, the senior from Cleveland, who's been outstanding for Baldwin-Wallace today, makes the tackle. We want to remind you of ABC's Wide World of Sports next Saturday afternoon at 5 Eastern and 4 Central Time here on ABC. Sugar Ray Leonard and Armando Munoz live from Springfield, Massachusetts in a welterweight fight, and a great one it should be. We remind you this telecast will not be seen in the Springfield, Massachusetts and surrounding area. On 2nd down and 7, Delaney complete to number 42, Don Culpepper. Chuck Paskey makes the tackle, but not before Culpepper gets very, very close to 1st down yardage. And the officials are now going to call a timeout, or are they going to say it is a 1st down? It is a 1st down as they move the change forward. After taking a look at it, 1st and 10, Wittenberg. Now the ball at their own 38-yard line.
You know, Don Culpepper has a twin brother on this ball club also with Wittenberg. I was a little worried that time. He caught the ball with enough for the 1st down, and he almost brought it back and lost the 1st down.
Delaney has hit on 2 of 2 for 28 yards. Hasn't thrown much, but has thrown well. 1st and 10 from the 38. Merritt at the 45. Inside Baldwin-Wallace territory down to the 40-yard line. Number 85, Bill Record, makes the play finally, but not before Merritt picks up another big gain down to the 40 of Baldwin-Wallace.
Again, I'll tell you, when you have a player like Dave Merritt and a quarterback like Chuck Delaney, you have to respect Delaney. He kicks the ball out. There's a good block in front by Steve Fuller. Now you can see how Merritt, he's going to turn it back to the inside. The last tackler just got enough of him to keep him from going all the way for a touchdown.
We have 5.5 minutes as you look at Dave Merritt now on the sidelines with Coach Dave Maurer. Merritt has come out of the game to take a bit of a break. Tracy King, number 21, is in to give Merritt a rest. Delaney wants to throw on a counter pass. A little bit too long, intended for number 88, Dave Frazier. It's incomplete. Doug Rush, number 14, defending on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for Wittenberg.
That's a pretty tough pass to throw. Chuck Delaney was kind of sprinting to his left a little bit and trying to throw that ball and lay it up in the middle to number 88, Dave Frazier. Dave was open, but he couldn't get the ball to him.
Don Culpepper, 42, goes out. Cliff Davis, number 83, comes in with the play for the Wittenberg offense. As Delaney brings them up on 2nd down and 10 at the Baldwin-Wallace 40. Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-0 here in the second quarter. Play action. Intended for number 83, Cliff Davis, but again overthrown at the 25-yard line and incomplete. Number 37, Gary Stelter, the fine senior cornerback from Youngstown, defending for Baldwin-Wallace.
You'll see here why Paul Petrillo was voted the outstanding player in the Ohio Athletic Conference. Look at the penetration. Look at his determination. He won the Hank Critchfield Award as the best defensive player in the OAC. He is some kind of football player.
And at less than 190 pounds, you got to have some kind of toughness to play in the middle of that defensive line. 3rd down and 10. Big play for Wittenberg if they are to continue this drive and get on the board before halftime. 5 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the half. Delaney over the middle, in and out of the hands of number 42, Don Culpepper. He had him wide open at the the 30. Culpepper couldn't hold on. It hit him, I guess, in a bad place, Rick.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you, he was coming against the grain in the middle, and I'll tell you, a pass like that when you're crossing the middle, a guy like Don Culpepper with his speed could have caught that ball and gone all the way in for a touchdown. Tough break for Wittenberg that time.
Well, it'll bring up 4th and 10 now, and Wittenberg will have to kick it away, and in the punt is number 22, Dave Miller. Miller will kick it away from about midfield, and back deep to receive is number 80, Rob Webb, and number 24, whom you see there, John Sanner. Angling it for the coffin corner, heading for the end zone. Into the end zone, it'll be a touchback. The clock stops with 5:05 to go in the first half. We'll return to Phenix City, Alabama for the Division III championship game with Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-0. Baldwin-Wallace goes back on offense, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line with 5:05 to go in the first half, leading 10-0. Jose Torado comes out split wide to the left. Andrechek and Wuchek in the backfield behind Cerniak. Wuchek on the dive play over the right side gets 3 yards out to the 23-yard line. Number 68, Joe McDonough, the fine linebacker from Middleton, Ohio, a 6'2", 195-pound senior, makes the tackle. Gain of 3 to the 23. It's 2nd down and 7. Here you look at Lee Tressel. What a great career he's had, Rick.
Well, I'll tell you, 21 years at the same school. Matter of fact, I coached against him in his first game when I was at Kent State.
2nd and 7 from their own 23-yard line. Looking pass, nice catch, no, incomplete. Intended for Dajansky, he almost had it. In fact, he did have it for a second. John Saxton, number 16, the junior from Columbus, defending for Wittenberg.
I tell you, I'm impressed with that Baldwin-Wallace pass offense. They throw the ball to the motion, they throw the ball to turn in, they throw the ball to a little seam guy coming in there. I'll tell you, it's excellent pass offense.
Cerniak, 12 of 18 for 118 yards so far today. On 3rd and 7 from their own 23-yard line. And Cerniak doesn't like what he sees and calls timeout. They did have an unusual set with Andrechek the only back in the backfield, and now Cerniak wants to come over and talk to Lee Tressel about the situation, which gives us an opportunity with 4:28 to go in the first half to remind you of what's coming up next here on ABC this afternoon. One of college football's oldest and greatest rivalries, the Army-Navy game from Philadelphia, live at 4 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon. And Rick Forzano is a former Navy coach. I know that game has special significance for you.
Well, Steve, I was fortunate enough to coach 5 years as an assistant coach in that game and 4 years as a head coach, and really it's just super. I'll tell you, I get a chill right now just thinking about that ball game, and I know those people from Army and Navy right now, they are worked up and waiting for that 4 o'clock kickoff.
Navy 7-3, of course, this season. They'll be playing in the first Holiday Bowl ever to be held, and it's the first bowl game that Navy will be going to since 1964 when Roger the Dodger took them to the Cotton Bowl, which was a big year for Navy football. This could be just as big a year if Navy, of course, has to defeat Army and then goes on to play in the first Holiday Bowl ever. Army with players like Plenty Blundage, their fine tight end. Should be a great one. 4 o'clock Eastern time, Army-Navy, immediately following this game right here over most of these same ABC stations. Baldwin-Wallace has it back together with 4:28 to go in the half on 3rd and 7 from their own 23-yard line. Double wing set. Dajansky in motion. Cerniak on the split out. It's complete to Ward. Ward tackled immediately by Roger Brown, number 18, but he is very close and does have enough yardage for the first down as he moves it across the 30 to the 32-yard line.
I'll tell you again, they make it very difficult when you don't have that underneath help by the linebackers. There's going to be someone open when you've flooded that zone.
Baldwin-Wallace now with 186 yards in total offense so far this afternoon. They lead 10-0. Cerniak has used many different receivers very effectively. Wuchek is in motion on 1st and 10. Just a little bit too tall. Intended again for Dave Ward, number 84, who coming into the game had caught 15 passes for 204 yards. The clock stops with 3:57 to go in the first half, and it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Baldwin-Wallace at their own 32.
Dave Ward was open that time. All he had to do was hit him. They went against the motion. They went motion one way and passed back the other way. Isolated the defender on number 84, Dave Ward.
Cerniak now 13 of 21 for 127 yards. On 2nd and 10. Cerniak going the other way. Complete. Do they rule a fumble or an incompletion? They ruled it now an incompletion. They waited for a moment as Chris Fields made the hit on Jose Tirado. It was in his hands momentarily, however.
Well, I'll tell you, that official, I think, had a little bit of indecision in his mind. Now, Cerniak's going to come out of there. Tirado is wide open. He gets hit real good right there by number 46, Kermit Smith. Shakes the ball loose, but they say it's an incompleted pass. Davey Marr will not be happy on that call.
Chris Fields tried to pick up a couple of extra yards. You can't advance a fumble, but he was going to lean towards the goal line and get a couple more. Nonetheless, it's 3rd down and 10 as the pass was ruled incomplete at the 32-yard line of Baldwin-Wallace. And again, Buchek is in motion. 3rd and 10. Pressure. Cerniak throwing back, and he was throwing into coverage as Chris Fields was over there, along with number 45, Dale Bradford, covering the intended receiver, number 84, Dave Ward. So it'll be 4th and 10, and BW will have to kick it away.
Wittenberg still has time to get some points on the board this half.
Number 25, Doug Schieffer, will kick it. He'll hit it from just outside his own 20-yard line, and he gets away a pretty good kick. Fair catch called for by number 35, Jim Awe, a senior from Mansfield. He gets it at his own 37-yard line, and Wittenberg will go back on offense with 3:38 left to go in the first half, and they trail still 10-0.
Again, with all the statistics being in the favor of Baldwin-Wallace, it should be more than 10-0. So, you know, this ball game could still change.
A 31-yard punt gives Wittenberg a 1st and 10 at their own 37-yard line. Merritt gets a block at midfield and into Baldwin-Wallace territory at the 49-yard line before number 37, Gary Stelter, the senior from Youngstown, and number 85, Bill Rickard, the senior from Greenville, Pennsylvania, make the tackle. Another good game for Merritt, and that play, Rick, has probably worked better than any play Wittenberg has run this afternoon.
Well, and Chuck Delaney runs it very well, and it's tough to kick the ball out with your left hand, but that time he waited till the last moment to pitch it out to Merritt.
It's 1st and 10, Wittenberg at the Baldwin-Wallace 49-yard line. Merritt at the 45 and inside the 45 near the 43-yard line.
This time they use a little bit of a counter. They start one direction. Now you'll watch Merritt come back. Good hole opened up on the left side by Jim Donaldson and Wade LaForce. I'll tell you, Merritt better not stick that ball out like that. He may cough up another fumble.
Merritt has now gained 85 yards on 13 carries. Delaney is going to keep it this time, turns upfield and gets short yardage as he gets down near the 41-yard line. Mike Hoon, number 73, a fine junior linebacker from East Palestine, Ohio, makes the tackle. As we have 2.5 minutes left to go in the half, Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-0 as you look at Lee Tressel, the Baldwin-Wallace coach in his 21st year. 3rd down, 3 yards to go. The ball at the 42-yard line. Again, the pitch to Merritt. And Merritt is hit right at the 40-yard line after a gain of 1. An excellent defensive play. Number 37, Gary Stelter, coming up from the secondary, along with number 89, Fred Buchanan, the defensive end.
I'll tell you,
short of the 1st down.
Steve, another guy that made a fine play, came up and really hit, was number 26, Chuck Paschke. He came up and drilled him.
Wittenberg has asked for a timeout on 4th and 1 with 1:54 to go here in the first half of play. As Baldwin-Wallace leads 10-0. I wonder if they're trying to decide to kick it or go for it. On 4th and 1 with 1:54 to go in the half, trailing 10-0. What would you do, Rick?
Well, that is a tough decision to make because you don't know, if you don't make the 1st down, Baldwin-Wallace still has a chance to come down the field and score, and yet you don't want to give up the ball.
Let's remind you of what's happening next Saturday afternoon on NCAA college football at 1:30 Eastern Time live. The Division II championship game. That 2 teams are being decided today. The winner of the Youngstown State Eastern Illinois game, which is being played today, will meet the winner of the Winston-Salem State and Delaware game, also being played today, for the Division II championship. Also, Division 1A semifinals, Massachusetts versus Nevada Reno in the 1AA semifinals. And Jackson State will be taking on a team to be announced in the other semifinals. So lots more college football action, NCAA playoff action here on ABC next Saturday afternoon over most of these same stations. 1:54 to go on 4th down and 1. They have apparently decided to go for it. High formation in the backfield with Fuller and Merritt behind Delaney. Merritt on the pitch. He's got it. Inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. Mike Kuhn, number 73, makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace.
Boy, that time, I'll tell you, Merritt really, right from the very beginning when he got that ball kicked out to him by Chuck Delaney, he's going to follow Steve Fuller. Steve Fuller's got a pretty good block, but I'll tell you, Merritt said, I'm going to get that first down, and he did.
Merritt now 93 yards on 15 carries. A minute and a half to go in the half. Wittenberg moving, trailing 10-0. Delaney on the sprint out is going to keep it. He's at the 30, the 25, gets away, and inside the 20 to the 15-yard line. They mark him out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Mike Kuhn, number 73, ran him out of bounds. Another big game for Wittenberg, and the clock stops with 1:23 left to go in the half.
Well, this time Chuck Delaney's going to sprint out to this side. Now just watch him. He's got 2 lead blockers. He's looking downfield. He doesn't find a receiver. A lot of poise. Pulled the ball down, decided to run. This is a big play. That makes that 4th and 1 decision look even better right now, Steve.
It's paid off for them as they have a 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line of Baldwin-Wallace. Merritt again. And Mike Kuhn makes a great defensive play, breaking through and dropping Merritt for a loss outside the 20-yard line at about the 22.
You have to stop a young man like Dave Merritt with his speed. The best way is like Hoon did right there. Just get penetration into the backfield and don't let him get started.
Hoon, 5'11", a 190-pound junior from East Palestine, Ohio. 1:05 to go as they have stopped the clock once again. Wittenberg would dearly love to get on the scoreboard here before the end of the half. And I would have to think, Rick, that they want the end zone. They don't want to have to kick that field goal.
Well, maybe not, but right now, you know, the way they have been really pushed around the field by Baldwin-Wallace to at least get 3 points and going at the halftime only down by 7 would give Dave Maher a lot to be able to talk with. By the same token, Baldwin-Wallace, hey, they want to shut them down because they want to go in 10-0 and say come out at the half. It makes Lee Tressel's job a little easier that way.
A score of any kind obviously would help Wittenberg's momentum. They hurt themselves early in the ball game with 2 turnovers when they were moving the football. Baldwin-Wallace capitalized on one of those for a field goal in the first quarter. But here late in the second quarter, Wittenberg is driving. It is now 2nd down and 15 yards to go. Another great defensive play by number 59, Paul Petrella, as he broke through to drop Delaney for a loss, or perhaps right at the line of scrimmage. They mark it at the 22-yard line. A loss of maybe a few inches on the play. In any event, it'll be 3rd down now and about 15 yards to go.
Paul Petrella, he has 1 goal, and that's to get to that ball carrier.
3rd down and 14. Big play for Wittenberg here with 35 seconds to go in the half. Delaney complete to Toronto inside the 15-yard line, or Don Culpepper, excuse me, number 42. Gary Stelter hit him immediately, and it is not enough for a 1st down. They mark it just inside the 14-yard line. The clock running with 16 seconds left to go in the half. And did they call a timeout? Now they have called a timeout.
I'm sure what they decided to do right there, they just want to get the field goal and not let Baldwin-Wallace have another shot at it because, you know, you kick the ball off and there's always that one play that could be a big mistake.
They let the clock run down to 10 seconds, and there you see Steve Jeffress, number 90, a senior from Cambridge, 6'2", 200-pounder, who has hit 8, now 9 field goals this year if he is to make this one. He had 8 coming into the game, and he hit 38 of 39 extra points as well. They run the pass pattern to Culpepper, number 42, right over the middle, and they set him up in pretty good position, Rick, right square in the middle of the field.
They certainly did, and of course Culpepper, he had that drop, but he certainly made up for it that time because he came right into the middle in a lot of traffic and concentrated onto the football. And boy, I'll tell you, they have it. That ball sitting right in the middle of the field for Jeffers to try to kick it through.
There you see the situation. 10 seconds on the clock. Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-0. And Jeffress will attempt it. It'll be a 30-yard attempt. It's good. Wittenberg gets on the scoreboard as it runs down to 6 seconds remaining in the half as Steve Jeffress kicks a 30-yard field goal, and Wittenberg is on the board for the first time today. It is now Baldwin-Wallace 10, Wittenberg 3, and we remind you that this is an NCAA Division III national championship game. It's unusual because these two teams played each other for their conference championship and tied, and they are somewhat arch rivals in the state of Ohio.
I'll tell you right now, and Dave Maurer and Lee Tressel know each other like the back of their hands. They've played so much against each other. I think they're something like 7-4-1 in the last 12 outings. But I believe Dave Maurer holding the advantage there.
Well, barring a penalty or a kick over the end line or a kick out of bounds, this will probably be the last play of the first half. As Jeffress ties his shoe up there a little bit, shoelace around his ankle to brace his foot for the kickoff. We'll have a full halftime activities for you. We have some 1,400 high school bandsmen here representing 16 schools. The squibber picked up by Nardecci. Out to the 25-yard line. And the clock does run out. That's the end of the first half, with Baldwin-Wallace leading Wittenberg 10-0. NCAA college football. Wittenberg and Baldwin-Wallace will continue after station.
Arts College affiliated with the United Methodist Church. The college has a total enrollment of 3,250 students and is located in Berea, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland. Students are the heart of the college, and their differences are recognized through an academic program that stresses the opportunity for individual development. Students may choose majors from 27 departments. In addition to the liberal arts and sciences, the college takes pride in its nationally known Conservatory of Music and divisions of business administration, education, and health and physical education. During the 22-year leadership of President A.B. Bonds, Jr., the college has added many new buildings, including the George Finney Stadium, one of the finest small college facilities in the nation. Motivated and talented students who benefit from the college and contribute to its programs are welcomed at Baldwin-Wallace, regardless of race or religion. A spirit of community makes Baldwin-Wallace an exciting and rewarding place in which to learn, to teach, and to grow.
Steve, coached by Lee Tressel in his 21st year. Wittenberg, of course, under the direction of Dave Maurer. Let's take a look at the halftime statistics. And they are, surprisingly, very even.
Well, of course, Wittenberg came on there at the end. You know, it was all one-sided, Baldwin-Wallace in that first quarter, but you see the first downs are about equal. Yards rush, it's Wittenberg 130 to BW 16, but I think Baldwin-Wallace has come out here figuring today they're going to throw that football as they have 171 yards there. But the total yards are equal, but the big difference, the 2 turnovers by Wittenberg is the difference in this ball game, and that's why the score is 10-3 in favor of Baldwin-Wallace.
One of those turnovers led to a Baldwin-Wallace field goal, their first score of the afternoon. Time of possession, you see, is quite equal as well. The other turnover, however, just stopped a Wittenberg drive when they were moving the ball quite well. Rick, what would you say would be the key to the second half? Do you think either coach is going to change anything much?
Well, I don't think so. I think we go in with a game plan like this, and really it's an even ball game. I think right now that probably Wittenberg is saying they've got to get a little bit more pressure on Cerniak somehow or other. They just can't let him sit back here and throw that football.
We want to remind you that this game will not end in a tie. There is a tiebreaker provision. The rules are rather complicated, and if the game should turn out to be very close, we will explain those to you as the game goes along. It will not be an overtime period of sudden death. It will be a tiebreaker, however, in which the team will start at the 15-yard line on offense, and they have 4 downs to either get a first down or score. Then the other team will have an opportunity to do that as well until one team has taken the lead for good. We'll be explaining that to you if the possibility looks like it might be imminent as the game continues. And also a reminder, we'll be awarding the Chevrolet offensive and defensive players of the game, and in whose name a $1,000 scholarship will go to the general scholarship fund of the school in that player's name on behalf of the Chevrolet Motor Division. There are the coaches. On the right, Lee Tressel walking the sidelines. On the left, Davey Maurer with his back to you there, grouped with his players around him. And there they are again. Maurer does a lot of pacing, doesn't he?
I'll tell you, both of them, you can see 4-7-1 one way, 7-4 and one the other. But boy, they've been there before. They're both brilliant football coaches. Their minds are going 100 miles an hour right now.
They want this game very badly. Wittenberg has been here before. They won the NCAA Division III title twice, 73 and 75 under Dave Maurer. Baldwin-Wallace has not been here before, and they would dearly love to have this game this afternoon. They are leading right now 10-3 as we get ready to start the second half of play. There you look at number 26, Dave Merritt, their fine tailback, who will be the deep receiver on kickoff, as Baldwin-Wallace will be kicking off. Number 91 for Baldwin-Wallace, their fine kicker, Tim Robinson, is set to kick off, and the second half is almost underway here from Phenix City's Municipal Stadium. Taken by Buckley, or Fuller it is, a fullback, Fuller 32 and not 33, out to only the 15-yard line, and Baldwin-Wallace continues to cover kicks well, Rick.
Yes, but one thing I'll tell you, always tell them, go up the field. There's a starting offense for Wittenberg, quarterback Delaney, number 12, Fuller, Merritt, Moon, Davis.
They will start, however, deep in their own territory, just outside the 15-yard line. Along the line, Donlin, LaForce, Short, Benson, Gray, and Frazier, the tight end. 1st and 10 from their own 15. Delaney to pass, deep in his own end, throwing long and just overthrows the intended receiver, number 83, Cliff Davis. 39, Gary Stelter, back defending on the play for Baldwin-Wallace.
Well, that time, Cliff Davis had him whipped. What they did, they pumped short and went long.
Here's the defensive line for Baldwin-Wallace. Buchanan, Johnson, Zito, Davis, Radlowski, and Reichert. The two inside linebackers are Hoon and Monda. They have both been very active, and they are both very good. Gary Stelter, the hitman back there, along with safety Chuck Paschke and Doug Rush, number 14. On 2nd and 10, following the incompletion. Delaney, pitch, knocked down. Let's see who recovered it. It appears as if Delaney may have fallen on the ball himself. Yes, the official says start the clock. They mark it right there.
Boy, I want to give Chuck Delaney credit, though. Even though maybe he shouldn't have kicked the ball out, watch him go get this football. Boy, I'll tell you one thing. That's a football player. That's a competitor, that Chuck Delaney. He wanted it.
Great defensive play by Bob Radlowski, who came in there to knock the ball loose and also to stop Delaney behind the line of scrimmage. We're just underway in the third quarter. 10-3, Baldwin-Wallace over Wittenberg. It is 3rd and 14, following the loss of 4 back at the 11-yard line. Fuller, straight ahead, out near the 20-yard line, but not nearly enough for the first down, as they just wanted to punch it out a bit before punting. It is at the 19-yard line, and they'll bring out the punting situation. Chris Zito, number 57, made the tackle on Fuller. It'll be 4th and 7.
Baldwin-Wallace really likes to pressure the punter, and again, they've got 9 people up there attacking the punter.
Dave Miller hits it. Baldwin-Wallace lets it roll. Down around the 40 and inside the 40. Down at the 37-yard line. And Baldwin-Wallace's Yellow Jackets will go back on offense for the first time. And with 13.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter, Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-3. We'll return to Phenix City in just a minute. Phenix City, Baldwin-Wallace goes on offense for the first time in this half, leading 10-3. Joe Cerniak is up to center, going in motion on 1st and 10 from their own 37-yard line. The pitch back to Wujek, and Wujek does not get to the 40-yard line, about the 39-yard line. Joe McDonough, number 68, senior linebacker, bumps him out of bounds there. Gain of 2, it'll be 2nd down and 8. Here's the backs and receivers, Cerniak, Wujek, and Jajanski at wingback, Sanner, and Dave Ward, the wide receiver. Double wing set again on 2nd down and 8, and again Sanner is in motion. The swing pass to Sanner. Once again, it works worked so well in the first half. Center fighting for extra yardage out across the 45 to the 46. Jim On, number 35, and number 45, Dale Bradford, make the play for Wittenberg.
Boy, Sander was not about to be denied. When he got that ball, he was going to get every yard he possibly could.
Baldwin-Wallace has not committed a turnover this afternoon. Wittenberg, as we said, has lost the ball twice on fumbles. It is third down, 1 yard to go, just outside the Baldwin-Wallace 45-yard line, full house backfield. Andrechek hit right at the line of scrimmage and thrown back. The middle of the Wittenberg defensive line. Good surge there.
At number 51, Scott Gray again got that penetration. He got to Andrechek before he could get started. That is a big third down play by the Wittenberg defense.
Number 25, Doug Schieffer, is in to punt for Baldwin-Wallace on 4th down and 2 yards to go. Jim On, number 35, is back deep receiving. Schieffer hits it from about his own 35. Fair catch. Called for and taken by Saxton at the 22-yard line of Wittenberg. And the Tigers with 12 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-3. Wittenberg coach in his 10th year, and what a 10 years it's been. 1st and 10, Wittenberg from their own 22-yard line. Delaney to Merritt, looking for a hole across the 25-yard line. 4 or 5 Baldwin-Wallace players led by Paul Petrella, number 59, as usual, make the tackle there on Merritt. Merritt now has gained 93 yards on 17 carries. An almost certain 100-yard day for Wittenberg's fine tailback as you look at Petrella, NCAA wrestling champion, as well as an excellent defensive tackle. Gain of 4, 2nd down and 6. It's a good block at the 35 and across the 35 to the 37-yard line. And again, it was Paul Petrella, number 59, along with number 26, Chuck Paskey in the secondary, who brought him down.
Again, Paul Petrella, number 59. Watch him shed the blocker. Again, he has the capability to run from sideline to sideline. What determination. He's not going to go down. He's going to get there, and he does. And he's in on the tackle, all the way from his tackle position to the sideline.
Merritt is now carried for 103 yards as Petrella gets a rest. Moon in motion. Delaney running the option right. Keeping as his pitchback got knocked down. Delaney had to keep it and ran along the line of scrimmage. Finally stopped by number 46, Gary Monda, for no gain. Perhaps even a loss on the play.
It looks like Paul Petrella might be hurt on that play that we just had on the replay. Number 59 there at the sideline.
10.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. 2nd down, 10 yards to go. Delaney optioning this side. Merritt on a high pitch, trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. He's not going to make it. Bill Davis, number 62, and number 37, Gary Stelter, 2 of the defensive stalwarts for Baldwin-Wallace, collaborate to bring Merritt down for a loss back to the 33-yard line. Loss of 5 on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 15. And Wittenberg has some tough 3rd down situations today, Rick.
Oh, they certainly have, and especially when you come up with 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 14, and you're not really a passing football team. That is a difficult decision.
They're at their own 33-yard line. They trail 10-3. Delaney almost intercepted by number 46, Gary Monda, the senior from Cleveland, in and out of his hands. And so Wittenberg on 4th and 15 will have to punt the ball away. And that Yellow Jacket defense is pumped up, as are their fans.
Hey, they play tenacious defense, no question about that.
Back to punt number 22. Dave Miller. John Center, number 24, is the deep man for Baldwin-Wallace. Miller gets it off. It goes off the side of his foot, almost out of bounds, but Ralph Young, number 3, fair catches it at the 36-yard line, closer to the 37-yard line of Baldwin-Wallace. The Yellow Jackets will go back on offense. 9.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-3.
Alcoa can't wait.
Remember that Army-Navy game coming up immediately following this game at 4 Eastern time over most of these ABC stations. The two coaches looking on as Baldwin-Wallace leads 10-3, 9.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Yellow Jackets on offense, 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line. To Sander once again on the swing pass. Nice defensive play by number 35, Jim Awe, who made a great open field tackle on Sander, who had some running room, Rick.
Oh, I'll tell you, that was a great move. For the number 1 reason, number 84, Dave Ward, was out in front of Sander with a block, and that block was just completely shed, came upfield and made the tackle. Jim Awe.
Baldwin-Wallace now with 195 yards of total offense. Gain of 2 on the play. It is 2nd down and 8. Center in motion once again. Again, Cerniak looking this way, and again he hits Center. Across the 40-yard line, Center is bumped out of bounds, and again Jim Awe, number 35, makes the play for Wittenberg as Awe is following Center from one side of the field to the other.
That is correct, and I'll tell you, that's a tough tackle to make. You know, he's got that, Center catches that ball deep in the backfield there. You got a one-on-one tackle, and Awe had to make it, and he's done a good job, 2 consecutive plays.
Cerniak now has completed 15 of 26 passes for 140 yards. It is 3rd and 4 at the 43-yard line of Baldwin-Wallace. And this time they go back to the left. This time he hits number 84, Dave Ward, over the middle. Ward at midfield is thrown back a ways. And again, it's Jim Awe, number 35, with the coverage in the secondary for Wittenberg.
I'd have to say that that is the best pass that Joe Cerniak threw today, because it had to be thrown on time, because Jim Awe was all over Dave Ward. He made that little turn. The ball was there. It was a completion. Big first down for Baldwin-Wallace.
The ball at the Wittenberg 49-yard line. We have 7 minutes, 55 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-3. 1st and 10. Wujek on the option. Wujek dropped for a loss of 2 yards by Chris Fields, number 10, a sophomore from Columbus, Ohio, who came up from the secondary with another great defensive play for Wittenberg. Loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12.
Chris Field has made 5 or 6 plays like that. He's another one of those people we'd have to be looking at for the Chevrolet defensive player of the game.
Wittenberg's defense has done a great job stopping the running game. Wujek, for example, has carried 7 times for only 10 yards. It is 2nd and 12. Baldwin-Wallace from their own 49-yard line. Cerniak looking downfield, intercepted. John Sexton, number 16, at the 25-yard line. Sexton out across the 35 to the 34. Bill Neese, number 67, and Mike Kelly, number 64. A couple of offensive guards bring him down, but not before Saxton turns things around for Wittenberg.
Well, Saxton is 6'4". This is his 6th interception of the year. Has good ball coverage right there. Kept his eye right on the quarterback's eye. Went to the football. Nice little running move there. I'll tell you, that was a big defensive play by John Saxton. He knows where the football is in the secondary.
Wittenberg gains some momentum now as they go back on offense, 1st down and 10 from their own 33-yard line. Merritt. Penalty marker is down as Merritt crosses the 35 to the 37-yard line. And we'll watch the official's indication. It is a holding penalty, illegal use of hands against Wittenberg. And that might take a little bit of the wind out of their sails that they picked up on the interception.
You know, talking about that, though, I don't remember that many penalties today. That seems to me it's the second one. I don't even remember seeing the first one.
It is the second penalty of the game. As the option rests with Baldwin-Wallace, they will take the penalty. And that will move the ball back 15 yards to the 21.5-yard line of Wittenberg. holding the indication. Again, we will tell you that this crew of officials is from the Atlantic Coast Conference. You look at Dave Maurer, the Wittenberg coach, on the sidelines. It'll now be 1st and 25 from the 22-yard line of Wittenberg. Number 33, the ball carrier, straight ahead. 59, Paul Petrella makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace. Buckley gets it out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. And a score in the third quarter. Georgia Tech leading Georgia, the 8th-ranked Bulldogs, who were tied by Auburn a couple of weeks ago. In the third quarter, Georgia Tech leading them 20-7. That is a big rivalry, too.
Boy, Pepper Rogers brought those people back.
6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Wittenberg with a 2nd down and 20. Delaney, he wants to throw the swing, but he overthrows Merritt on the far sideline. Incomplete. Bill Rickert, number 85, the outside left linebacker, defending on the play for Baldwin-Wallace. That'll bring up a 3rd and 20 for Wittenberg.
I don't know. I don't think if I was Chuck Delaney, I'd have thrown that ball out there. He threw it up there for grabs. That thing could have been intercepted and taken right down the sideline. Better to eat those.
There would have been no stopping it. 3rd down, 20 yards to go. Wittenberg has trailed the entire afternoon. First 3-0, then 10-0, and now 10-3 as they got on the board just at the end of the first half with a field goal. Play action pass, and Delaney wants to throw back over the middle. Nice defensive play. The pass was intended for Chris Davis, and number 14, Doug Rush, came in and broke it up with perfect timing.
Might add that Doug Rush, number 14, is the son of Cleve Rush, the ex-New England Patriots coach and a super football coach at Ohio State, a lot of places.
Delaney, 3 of 10 passing this afternoon for 135 yards. The incompletion brings up a 4th and 20. Wittenberg will have to punt it away, and Dave Miller, number 22, is on. Center, number 24, along with number 80, Rob Webb, back deep to receive. A line drive punt. Sander has it bounce off his chest, but holds on and then is tripped up immediately. Number 60, Wade LaForce, an offensive guard from Lorain, Ohio, is down there to trip up Sander at the 43-yard line. We'll return for more third quarter action here in Phenix City in just a moment. From Phenix City, Alabama, where it's 10-3. Baldwin-Wallace leading Wittenberg. Baldwin-Wallace going back on offense, 1st and 10 at their own 43-yard line. Wujek crosses the 45-yard line, gets out to about the 46, tackled by number 37, Tim Coble.
Wittenberg has done a good job of shutting down the Baldwin-Wallace running attack, but they just haven't been able to shut down the passing attack till they get inside the 20-yard line. Then it'll be kind of tough.
Baldwin-Wallace quarterback Joe Cerniak, 16 of 28 for 148 yards and 1 interception. Gain of 4. It's 2nd down and 6 just across the 45 of Baldwin-Wallace. Again, Sander in motion. Again, Wujek, the ball carrier, busting straight ahead, out near midfield, about to the 48 or 49. Tim Coble again, tackle. Jim Coble, excuse me. Let's update that Georgia Tech-Georgia score for you. This game for you in Ohio watching this is only about 150 miles from where we are, and now Georgia's coming back 20-14 in the third quarter. Georgia Tech leading Georgia. Again, Fields misses him. Sander trying to get back to the line of scrimmage, but he's dropped at the 45-yard line. Number 28, Bill Beach, comes up to make the play. After Fields had just missed the tackle. And that will bring up a punting situation for Baldwin-Wallace.
Wittenberg had a blitz on that time, really put the pressure on. Sander was going to throw the ball downfield, but he didn't have enough time to.
Schiefer will be punting to Saxton and Jim Awe, who are back deep to receive for Wittenberg. Schiefer gets a beautiful kick away. Awe going back and called for the fair catch. It drops inside the 5, nose down at the 4-yard line. What a punt. Doug Schiefer, only a sophomore, and was averaging 39.2 coming into the game. He busted that that one, though, Rick.
That's his best kick of the day, boy. And what an opportune time for Baldwin-Wallace to put Wittenberg down there inside of their 5-yard line. Boy, that kicking game is important.
Not only was that a 50-yard punt, but it was coming nose down, and it in like a 9-iron shot right on the green. Wittenberg, trailing 10-3, is in a very unenviable position, having to start now from inside their 5. 4 minutes, 11 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Delaney throwing out of his own end zone, in and out of the hands of Amos Moon, incomplete at the 15-yard line. Very stealthy and defending on the play for Baldwin-Wallace.
Well, I'll tell you, you've got to give Wittenberg credit. They aren't afraid to throw that ball from down in there, and that could have been a big play. It could have been a first down had Amos Moon been able to hold on to that ball. Delaney is 3 of 11 for 35 yards passing the football today.
We have an injury timeout, an official's timeout on the field for one of the Baldwin-Wallace players who is hurt and being attended to, as you see there, by the trainer. The clock is stopped with 4:07 to go in the third quarter. Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-3. Let's pause for just a minute here at Phenix City, Alabama, where they attend to Gary Stettler. We'll be back.
Again, you can see why he got the Hank Critchfield Award for the best defensive player. He's just all over the field, and he wrapped up Dave Merritt that time. Merritt has 99 yards, but I'll tell you, they've been a tough 99 yards.
Third down and 10. Merritt again, and this time they cannot punch that ball out from their own end zone, and Wittenberg has to kick from the shadow of their own goal post.
Young people can learn a lesson from Paul Petrella and just effort all the time. Just watch him. He gets blocked. He gets down on his knee. He keeps coming back, pursues the play. He's in on the tackle. Boy, I tell you, that young man wants to play the game and loves it. He shows it.
Dave Miller, standing very near the back end line of his own end zone, will kick it away. Center is the deep man, but again, it's taken by the up back, number 3, Ralph Young, and it was not a very long kick. And Baldwin-Wallace, leading 10-3, will have very good field position as they will take over first and 10 at the Wittenberg 36-yard line. 2 minutes, 55 seconds to go in the third quarter as you look at the Baldwin-Wallace sideline. Coach Lee Tressel, old windbreaker. First and 10. Cerniak, complete inside the 30-yard line. Dave Ward stopped by Jim All once. Ball for defense.
That Joe Cerniak, I'll tell you, he sprints out to his left and he can lay the ball in there.
The gain is 7 yards. It'll be second down and 3 yards to go. The ball at the 29-yard line of Wittenberg. Again, double wing set with only one running back. Wujek in the backfield and center in motion. Cerniak throwing back complete to Dejansky. Dejansky slips and falls at about the 22-yard line.
Now that time, they put the man in motion, as you see, number 24, center, but they're going to throw against the grain to number 44, Matt Dejansky. Now watch. He's free, boy. He's got a lot of opening. He just slips down there. He might have been able to run it in all the way. And again, a well-conceived pass offense, starting in one direction and throwing back.
Nearing the end of the third quarter, it is now first and 10. Baldwin-Wallace at the Wittenberg 21. He's going for it all, intended for Toronto, but overthrown, incomplete. Jim Aw again defending on the play, and it doesn't make any difference what receiver. Jim Aw seems to be covering him.
Oh, that young man, he's another one of those people. But we see on the field today, on both ball clubs, people that love to play the game and give 110% at all times. It's just a pleasure to watch people play the game of football like these two teams are playing out there today.
Clock stops with 1:48 left to go in the third quarter. And it'll be second down and 10 again from the 21.5 of Wittenberg. Again, Toronto comes out wide to the right. And again, the double wing set. This time, it's Seaman in motion. back for a loss. Number 73, Joe Govern, the first Wittenberg defender to get back there. He drops him back outside the 25 at about the 27-yard line.
Well, in that reverse play, I'll tell you, Joe Govern, you can see why he's a leading tackler in the line for Wittenberg, number 73.
A reminder, the next Saturday, Division II championship game. The winner of today's Youngstown State Eastern Illinois game against the winner of the Winston-Salem Delaware game here on ABC. Down to a minute 15 to go in the third quarter. Baldwin-Wallace still leading 10-3. They have a 3rd and 15 at the Wittenberg 36.5-yard line. Cherniak wants to throw again. Underthrown and incomplete on the far sideline. Intended for number 84, Dave Ward. Roger Brown defending on the play.
The same guy again, number 73, Joe Govern from Macedonia, Ohio. He put the pressure that time on Joe Cherniak, made him throw the ball poorly.
4th down and 15, and the kicking team comes on for Baldwin-Wallace. This will not be a short one, however, as they will mark it at the 34-yard line. It will be a 44-yard attempt. Tim Robinson with number 9, Fred Martin holding. From the 34-yard line at Wittenberg, a 44-yard field goal attempt. Robinson has already kicked one. This one will be short. And no good. 55 seconds remaining in the third quarter, so the score remains 10-3. That
might have been a pretty big defensive stand right there by Wittenberg because they really had great field position.
And not only that, Wittenberg will go back on offense with added momentum. And we remind you that tomorrow on College Football 78, you'll see highlights of today's key contest. That big game in which you were updated at halftime, number 2 Alabama versus Army, or rather Auburn, Army-Navy, of course, which will be following here on most of these ABC stations after this game. Barrett out to near the 30-yard line. Number 89, Fred Buchanan, makes the tackle.
Merritt just seems to be so close to going, just breaking that thing a little bit more, but that daggone Baldwin-Wallace defense, they just pursue. They don't let you get too much on them.
Just 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It is 2nd down and 7. Wittenberg from their own 30. Delaney. Complete to number 88, Dale Frazier, the tight end, and he's run out of bounds near midfield by number 73, Mike Kuhn, the inside linebacker on the left side.
Well, that time Chuck Delaney put the ball right on the money to Dave Frazier, number 88 from Perrysburg, Ohio. That's his 8th catch of the year.
And it moves Wittenberg into Baldwin-Wallace territory at the 46-yard line, 1st and 10 with 15 seconds to go in the third quarter. Wittenberg coming back, but trailing 10-3. Merritt dragged down from behind by number 62, Bill Davis, who's been outstanding on defense for Baldwin-Wallace.
That is an interesting play, Steve. That's the 3rd time they've run that little pitch sweep. That's the 3rd time that number 62, Bill Davis, has caught him in the backfield.
That's the end of the third quarter here at Phenix City, Alabama. The Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl with Baldwin-Wallace leading Wittenberg 10-3 will return for the 4th and final quarter in just a moment.
Hey, beer lovers! Now
this Division III NCAA National Championship game. 2nd down and 14 for Wittenberg, right at midfield. They trail 10-3. Delaney to pass. Over the middle, complete to Merritt. Merritt looking for some running room. Gets down near the Baldwin-Wallace 40-yard line before he's thrown back. Mike Kuhn, number 73, covering on the play, along with number 46, his running mate at linebacker, Gary Monda.
All it is a little delay out of the backfield. Delaney drops back. He lets that little vacuum create between the linebackers and the line. Merritt has a chance to do a little open field running.
Delaney now 5 of 13 for 69 yards passing. That was a gain of 10. It'll be 3rd down and 4 at the Baldwin-Wallace 40-yard line. Wittenberg has been faced with many key 3rd down situations, and this is one of those. Delaney to pass again. Loses the football, but I believe a Wittenberg offensive defensive lineman has fallen on it. No, Baldwin-Wallace has recovered at their own 44-yard line. 57, Chris Zito, a junior defensive tackle from Fairview Park, fell on that loose football. And again, a big turnover has hurt Wittenberg when they were driving. The third fumble for Wittenberg this afternoon. Petrella made the hit on him, Rick.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he makes a hit on a lot of people.
Baldwin-Wallace with another break. 1st and 10 at their own 44-yard line. Sanner runs over his own man and gets into Wittenberg territory inside the 45 to the 42. John Sexton, number 16, the junior from Columbus, comes up to make the hit.
All it is, a little straight handoff, like a little veer play to Sanner. He has an opening right there, runs into his own man, turns it upfield, big first down, Baldwin-Wallace.
At the Wittenberg 41-yard line, we have 13:50 to go in the game. Baldwin-Wallace driving and leading 10-3. Wujek, a very tough 1 yard into the arms of number 73, Joe Govern, the defensive tackle, a junior from Macedonia, who's been playing outstanding defensive line for Wittenberg.
You know, we have to say this for Baldwin-Wallace. They're playing without their great fullback, Roger Andrzejczyk, who just hasn't played that much today. He has that hip pointer, and they miss him.
Cerniak to Wujek on the option. Wujek down near the 35-yard line. 28, Bill Beach, and 18, Roger Brown in the secondary make the tackle. Let's take a look at the third quarter statistics, Rick.
Again, it's still a pretty even ball game, but I believe those turnovers should be 3 for Wittenberg rather than 2, and that's the big difference in the ball game.
The third one, however, came here in the fourth quarter.
Right.
221 to 208 in total yards, 10 to 11 in first downs. Baldwin-Wallace doing it through the air, Wittenberg doing it on the ground. It is 3rd and 5, Baldwin-Wallace. They're at the Wittenberg 35-yard line, and Cerniak doesn't like what he sees, and wisely calls a timeout, comes over to talk to Coach Lee Tressel with 13:07 left to go in the game. We'll return for the final 13 minutes of the Stagg Bowl here in Phenix City right after these messages on ABC. Let's take a look at a couple of other scores. Games last night, of course, Texas and Texas A&M, Rick. The Longhorns really put them away 22-7. In Division II semifinal in the third quarter, Delaware leading Winston-Salem 34-0. And here it is 3rd down and 5 for Baldwin-Wallace at the 35-yard line of Wittenberg. Cerniak looking for Sanner to get open. Sanner has it at the 15-yard line on a nice reception just inside the 15 of Wittenberg. Cerniak waiting for Sanner to get open and then hitting him beautifully.
I got to tell you, Cerniak put that ball right. He laid it in there so softly, and Sanner made a good catch. But I'll tell you, I've got to give Cerniak credit. He laid the ball in there like it should be put in.
A big 3rd and 5 gives him a 1st down and 10 as Cerniak is now 21 of 34 for 182 yards. 1st and 10 at the 15, Wujek. Gets a block and cuts inside, goes down to the 10-yard line. Number 49, Jeff Manchester, the left defensive end, and number 10, Chris Fields, the defensive back, sophomore from Columbus, came up from the secondary to help out.
You know, we've been talking about defensive players for the game for the Chevrolet Award, but Cerniak, Joe Cerniak, certainly has to be a prime contender for the offensive player of the game.
The Wittenberg-Baldwin-Wallace game is being brought to you as an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Now let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
TV5 WEWS Cleveland.
On 2nd and 6, Wujek down inside the 5-yard line to the 4. It is 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. Wujek now 33 yards on 13 carries. As Baldwin-Wallace has really not done that much on the ground. That, however, was a big 1st down. 1st and goal from the 4. Baldwin-Wallace leading 10-3 here in the 4th quarter, threatening to score again. Cerniak on the option, cuts inside. Touchdown, Baldwin-Wallace as Cerniak pushes it across the goal line. And the Yellow Jackets go out in front, 16-3.
Well, that is Cerniak's 9th touchdown running the football. I'll tell you, he is a field general and a guy that can move a football team. Here he is on the option. He's just going to come straight down the line. He's going to fake the pitch out. Now he says, I want a touchdown. He turns it upfield. Boy, that ball must have just got in there, but he got 6 points for Baldwin-Wallace.
Very, very close. The official who was right there next to him ruled it a touchdown as Tim Robinson, number 91, will kick out of the hold of Fred Martin. The extra point is good, and that makes it Baldwin-Wallace 17, Wittenberg 3 with 11:48 left to go in the fourth quarter. We'll return to Phenix City in just a moment.
The Goodyear
The
team.
kickoff as Baldwin-Wallace has taken a 17-3 lead on a 4-yard run by Joe Cerniak. As you look at Meso Moon, one of the deep receivers for Wittenberg. 11:48 left to go in the game. Robinson line drives it. Moon takes it at the 5-yard line. Moon's at the 20, trying to get out of traffic, dropped to the 25-yard line. Wittenberg takes over, first and 10 at their own 25, and now, Rick, their job becomes even tougher. Not only are they 14 points behind instead of 7, but there are only 11:42 left in the game.
There's the touchdown run by Joe Cerniak. The official's right there. Yeah, the ball, all it has to do is cross that plane. That's a big touchdown for Baldwin-Wallace. And in that drive, they were able to get their running game going a little bit.
Something they had not been able to do against the Wittenberg defense. 7 plays, 56 yards, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. First and 10 from the 25. Merritt out near the 30-yard line, probably about the 29-yard line. A gain of 4. It'll be second down and 6. 85. Bill Rickard, a 6-foot senior from Greenville, Pennsylvania, makes the tackle on Merritt. Merritt has now gained 104 yards rushing on 27 carries today.
The biggest thing when you say for Baldwin-Wallace, the defensive coaches, he hasn't broken the big one on them.
Baldwin-Wallace's defense has done an excellent job of containing and not giving up the big play. Delaney with pressure, trying to run out of there, throws it on the run, incomplete. Almost intercepted by Stelter. And number 73, Mike Hoon, was chasing Delaney clear into the next county, practically.
There were a lot of Baldwin-Wallace people chasing Chuck Delaney on that. He was running for his life, I'll tell you.
Delaney now, number 12, has passed 14 times, completed 5 for 69 yards. It is third down and 4 yards to go following the incompletion.
Watch how open Culpepper is, but boy, I'll tell you, it's one thing to get open, but if you can't get rid of the ball.
On third and 6, Delaney wants to put it up again. Intended for Meso Moon, incomplete. A penalty marker is down, however, and we may have an interference call. And Gary Stelter, who was injured earlier, is apparently down and injured once again. I believe the interference call is on him, and apparently he is also injured. If you'll remember, a few minutes ago, Stelter had to leave the game with an injury and may have re-injured himself on that play.
I think he might have just hit the intended receiver just a little early that time, but that Gary Stelter knows how to make that ball reaction also.
They mark the ball at the 38-yard line of Wittenberg. If the Tigers will have a first and 10 at that point. And Stelter wants to stay in the game, but they're going to make him come out. Typical, he would want to stay in the game. But he appears to be all right, walking off under his own power. The clock stops with 10:53 to go in the ball game. Baldwin-Wallace leading 17-3. It is first and 10, Wittenberg. They are at their own 38-yard line. Skip Buckley and Merritt in the backfield behind Delaney out of the I formation. This is Merritt. Merritt on the blast play gets very short yardage, crosses the 40 to about the 41-yard line. Thrown back by number 59, Paul Petrella. A most familiar name for the Baldwin-Wallace defense.
I was going to say, guess who? Because he is in on every play. Paul Petrella, number 59, defensive tackle for Baldwin-Wallace. Second and long.
Gain of only 3. It's second down and 7 at the 41-yard line. Culpepper goes wide to the left. Moon is in the slot to the left. Merritt again. Penalty marker is down at the spot of the tackle at the 40-yard line. Chris Zito, the left defensive end, and Doug Rush, number 14, up from the secondary. And we have a clipping penalty called against Wittenberg, and that will really hurt the Tigers on this drive. They already had second and long, and now 15 yards will be tacked on, which will put the ball back near the 25.
Wittenberg's had two 15-yard penalties today, holding, and now this clip that has really hurt their offense.
We have just over 10 minutes left to play in the game. Baldwin-Wallace has taken a 17-3 lead with a 4-yard touchdown run by quarterback Joe Cerniak here in the fourth quarter.
You know,
see the official mark off the infraction. Let's remind you that we have 2 nights of big NFL action this week. First of all, tomorrow, a special Sunday night edition of NFL football. The Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders, a big AFC West matchup. The loser might be eliminated from the playoffs. The winner will be leading that division. Then on Monday night at 9 Eastern time, the Chicago Bears and the San Diego Chargers. Walter Payton against the great Lydell Mitchell. Tackle on Moon.
Baldwin-Wallace's defense, their players, they refuse to stay blocked. You may get a hat on them, but you're not going to keep it on them very long, and they just get from sideline to sideline.
It is third down and 25 now. 9 minutes, 48 seconds to go in the game. The ball is back at the 23-yard line. Wittenberg needs some offense now. They're a long way away from a score, and they trail by 14 points. Delaney brings it on the high formation once again with Buckley and Merritt behind him. In and out of the hands of number 88, Dave Frazier, the tight end, who was open at about the 45-yard line. 41, Mark Cassesi defending on the play, the junior from Willoughby, Ohio.
Had this pass been there, it could have been a touchdown. Dave Frazier just goes right down the seam, right down the middle of the field. Delaney just a little high. Well, I'll tell you, they were in a zone coverage, and he went right down the middle.
And when Delaney has thrown incompletions, he has almost always overthrown his intended receiver. Miller will be punting, number 22. This will be his 7th punt of the afternoon. His longest so far, 44 yards. It's a fake. First down, although he made a good try, got out past the 40-yard line. Picked up some good yardage, but it is not quite enough as they fall about 4 yards short of a first down. Baldwin-Wallace will take over in Wittenberg territory with 9:19 left to go in the ball game and leading 17-9. We'll return in just a minute. At Municipal Stadium in Phenix City, Alabama, the final 9 minutes and 19 seconds of the Stagg Bowl this year. The Division III NCAA National Championship game. Baldwin-Wallace, 272 yards of total offense. First and 10 is a Wittenberg 42. Center breaks through on a counterplay once again and gets down to the 35-yard line of Wittenberg. Let's take a look at the fake punt once again, Rick.
Well, I'll tell you, this was a gutty call. They snapped the ball to the up back, number 33, Skip Buckley, and I'll tell you, he's doing his darndest to try to get that first down, and he falls about 4 to 6 yards short. But you talk about a call that took guts by a coach to make. That was one of those.
Center carried for a gain of 7 down to the 35 of Wittenberg. It is 2nd down and 3. Option, and Cerniak is tripped up on a nice defensive play by number 51, the middle guard Scott Gray, who got excellent penetration. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 4, maybe a loss of 1. We'll call it a loss of 1. Back, maybe a loss of 2 as it's back almost to the 37-yard line. 3rd and a long 4.
Again, we talk about Scott Gray, number 51, making another good play for Wittenberg defense.
Again, the double wing set for Baldwin-Wallace. Wujek is in motion. The pass to Wujek. Nice catch, but not much yardage as he's knocked down immediately by Chris Fields, number 10. Wujek showing good hands, Rick, as he picked that one off his knees.
Excellent hands, and again, number 10, Chris Fields, was over there to make the play.
Fields only a sophomore and not too big at 5'8", 160 from Columbus, Ohio. He's made his presence felt, however. And so on 4th down and 2 as they come up short, Baldwin-Wallace lines up in punt formation. Schiefer kicks it, trying for the coffin corner. We'll see where they mark it. It's going to go out.
That's a good punt right there.
At about the 10-yard line. They mark it right at the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 Wittenberg with only 7:18 left in the game. The Wittenberg Tigers are 90 yards away from a touchdown, trailing by 14 points. Only a 24-yard punt for Schiefer, but it was very, very effective.
He has put 2 balls inside there, one inside the 5, and now one just inside the 10-yard line. Big play, Schiefer, the punter for Baldwin-Wallace.
We talked about that kicking game at the top of the show, and it has proved to be important as Wittenberg has not had good field position here in the 4th quarter when they needed to catch up. Power I formation in the backfield on the option. Delaney can't pitch it and can't run it. He's dropped for about a yard loss back around the 4-yard line. And again, number 62, Bill Davis, the defensive end and a senior from Cleveland, is there to make the play. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10.
There were 6 Baldwin-Wallace defensive players there to make that play. I'll tell you, they were standing all around Delaney.
At the beginning of the game, Rick, you were talking about how important it would be for Delaney to run the option and run it well. He's gained only 22 yards on 10 carries for 2.2 yards rushing per play. Not quite good enough.
No.
2nd and 10 from the 10-yard line. Again, the power I in the back. The tailback position crosses the 5 to about the 7-yard line. 85, Bill Rickard, and 59, Paul Petrella, make the play. Going to be tough on the Chevy defensive player. We got Paul Petrella, Mike Hoon, and Bill Davis, and of course Wittenberg's defense is also.
There's old Paul Petrella. Now watch him. Now watch him from the end zone. Look, holy smoke! Out there, there was no way he should be in on that play. Play was blocked. He had his head down. He's still looking for the football, and he makes the tackle. Paul Petrella, number 59.
It is 3rd down and 7 now. Delaney to pass. Over the middle, complete to number 83, Cliff Davis. Davis out across the 30-yard line and a big first down at the 32. Art Cassesi, number 41, a junior from Willoughby, Ohio, the safety man, makes the tackle on Davis.
Again, Paul Petrella, number 59. Now watch him putting the pass rush on. He continues to come up. Now watch, the play's over. Look at him. He's going to move toward the ball.
Delaney is now hit, excuse me, Rick. Delaney is now hit 8 of 17 for 96 yards. Not much yardage as number 54 recovers the ball for Wittenberg. Mark Short, the center. They had a little bit of a problem. Gain of a yard and a half or 2 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
A team like Wittenberg does not like to be in this situation because they're a running football team. They're not a passing football team, but they don't have much choice right now.
2nd down and 8 from their own 34-yard line. Delaney looks over the middle. It's complete to number 88. Dave Frazier, the tight end, is into Baldwin-Wallace territory at the 48-yard line. It's stopped by Mark Cassesi, the safety man again, number 41. Another big first down for Wittenberg. A gain of 18 on the play.
In a ball game like this with less than 5 minutes left, the score 17-3, it's still a ball game.
1st and 10 Wittenberg at the Baldwin-Wallace 48-yard line. Delaney wants to pass again. Again over the middle and again complete to Frazier, number 88. And again Mark Cassesi makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace. Keep going to the well until it runs dry, I guess, Rick.
That's right. That time Baldwin-Wallace had a linebacker blitz on. Number 46, Gary Monda, came in untouched, but Delaney kept his poise, threw the ball to number 88, Dave Frazier. Big first down, Wittenberg.
And it's another 18-yard gain. Twice in a row, they've gained 18 on that play. 4 minutes, 25 seconds left to go in the game. Double wing formation as Delaney drops back. Looking to pass again. This one is complete on the far sideline inside the 20-yard line. Reception made by number 83, Cliff Davis. Mike Hoon, the linebacker, number 73, makes the stop. A gain of 14.
Now just Just watch Cliff Davis now. The quarterback's rolling away from him. He kind of lulled him to sleep. Look to the inside. Another first down for Wittenberg.
4 minutes and 5 seconds left to go in the ball game. Wittenberg driving from their own 10-yard line, trailing 17-3. High formation in the backfield. Merritt on a delay. Merritt inside the 10-yard line. 85, Bill Record makes the tackle for Baldwin-Wallace.
Now that was a good call because they've been throwing the football. Now that was like a little delayed draw to try to give Merritt some running room, try to get him into the end zone.
3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the game. On second down and 1 into the end zone. Touchdown, Wittenberg! Delaney hits his favorite receiver, Cliff Davis, for the first Wittenberg touchdown of the afternoon at 3:25 to go in the fourth quarter. And Wittenberg has driven 90 yards to make it 17-9, Baldwin-Wallace.
That tiebreaker, you know, it becomes a little bit more apparent. You take a team like Wittenberg, they've won this thing twice. They're never going to give up. I don't care what the score is.
Steve Jeffress will kick out of a hold by Phil Penwell, number 14. The extra point is good. 3 minutes, 25 seconds left to go in the game, and it's 17-13. Here it is again.
Delaney, I tell you, he just goes back, picks out Davis in the corner of the end zone on a little turnout. Davis gets up in the air, gets the ball, touchdown.
I believe I said 17-13. It's 17-10. Baldwin-Wallace will return for more in just a moment. Plays 3 minutes and 53 seconds, and Wittenberg has gotten right back in this ball game, and now a tie becomes a definite possibility, Rick, with 3:25 to go.
Just the way the other ball game was, 17-10.
Onside kick taken by number 40, Keith Zeman of Baldwin-Wallace. As Wittenberg went for it, Tim Coble makes the tackle at the 46-yard line. Baldwin-Wallace first and 10.
That time they had a little different look at the kickoff. Instead of the kicker kicking the ball, they had the man come from the right side. They were just trying to get the ball in the onside kick, a little surprise element, but Baldwin-Wallace was alert, got it. They have the ball first and 10.
Wittenberg scoring on a 9-yard pass from Delaney to Cliff Davis to make it 17-10. Baldwin-Wallace, 3 minutes, 20 seconds to go, and Cerniak wants another timeout after coming up to the line of scrimmage. Wittenberg must be doing some things on defense, Rick.
Well, it seems like to me every time I've seen Cerniak, it's the third time he's called a timeout like this, is when Wittenberg takes their defense and kind of overloads in the middle. Maybe they have some kind of a little trap action on or something, and he's smart enough. He says, hey, we might have a fumble here. We might have a big play by the Wittenberg defense. We don't want that. Call timeout, go over to the sideline, talk to Lee Tressel, especially situation like this. 3 minutes and 22 seconds left. You're ahead 17-10. You can't have any mistakes right now.
Obviously, the possibility of a tie exists here. These two teams in their conference championship game tied at 17-all. We could have that situation right here. However, this game cannot end in a tie because we must decide the national championship. If they had not tied in that game, they wouldn't be here. But here they are, and there are tie-breaking provisions.
Well, that's right. You know, they have a coin toss, and then the team that wins it can decide whether they want to go on offense or defense at the 15-yard line. Then they have 4 downs to either make a first down inside the 5 or score a touchdown or a field goal.
It is first and 10, Baldwin-Wallace at their own 46-yard line. Wujek crosses midfield into Wittenberg territory at the 49-yard line. 68, Joe McDonough makes the tackle for Wittenberg.
You know, to expound on that a little bit more, Steve, let's say the first team does go in and they do kick a field goal or get a touchdown. Still, the other team that was on defense gets another opportunity themselves to try to put points on the board.
And they will continue alternating like that until someone has scored more points than the other team. Center in motion. On second and 5, Wujek on the pitch. Wujek close to first down yardage as he gets inside the 45 to the 43. 49, Jeff Manchester, the defensive end on the left side, a junior from Sydney, makes the tackle.
John Sander was out in front of that play and made an excellent block downfield. He's the one that broke Wujek loose.
As you see, 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the game. And again, we remind you, there will be a no-brainer situation. It will not be an overtime period. There will be no time on the clock if this game should end in regulation time in a tie. However, Baldwin-Wallace is leading by 7 and driving with the football. First and 10 with 2 minutes and 19 seconds to go. Center inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. 49, Jeff Manchester again making the tackle for Wittenberg.
Joe Cerniak made an excellent play on that fake there. I thought the man had the ball going in the line of scrimmage. He kept the ball, brought it out, kicked it outside.
Baldwin-Wallace has 1 timeout left. Wittenberg, which will probably need their timeouts, 2 timeouts left. However, the clock is down to 1 minute and 48 seconds. Second down and 4. Center again, breaking through and picking up enough yardage for the first down to the 31-yard line. 68. Joe McDonough makes the tackle, the senior from Middletown.
You know, Joe McDonough, we said that he was going to have to be in on every play, that he is an excellent linebacker. Now, you see him right there, taking the blocker on, getting leverage, making the play on John Sander. But it's a first down, Baldwin-Wallace, a big first down for Baldwin-Wallace.
We're down to 1 minute and 28 seconds left to go in the game. First and 10. Baldwin-Wallace at the 31-yard line. At Wittenberg, they lead 17 to 10. Wojak straight ahead. Tripped up the line of scrimmage by number 68, Joe McDonough again. And you see McDonough there getting up. He's playing a whale of a game. The gain is inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. Pickup of 3. It'll be second down and 7. 1 minute and 10 seconds left to play. Wittenberg takes one of their timeouts to stop the clock and will return with that final minute and 10 seconds of the Stagg Bowl, the Division III championship, in just a minute. Stadium in Phenix City, Alabama, the final 1 minute and 10 seconds of the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl to decide the Division III NCAA national champion. And at this particular moment, with Baldwin-Wallace driving and leading 17 to 10, it looks as if the Yellow Jackets will have their first national title. Cerniak to center. Center's got a lot of room. He's on the 10. He's going to go all the way. John Center.
I'll tell you something. That was a heck of a call to begin with. And boy, I'll tell you, Cerniak again, he forced that corner, kicked the ball out to John Sander. Good blocking downfield. Touchdown, Baldwin-Wallace. Well, they picked up their running game in the second half. They went to those pick openers, those little veers, those little quick hitters. Now that option play and the kick out, another touchdown.
A prime example of taking what they give you. In the first half, Wittenberg's defense very tough against the run, and so they went to the flares and the swing passes, and it worked very effectively for them as number 91, Tim Robinson, kicks the extra point to make it 24 to 10. Baldwin-Wallace with 1 minute and 3 seconds left to go in the game, and our tie-breaking possibility is wiped out on this play right here.
Well, there you see, he fakes the ball to Wojak. Now, boy, there's that seam. I'll tell you, the defense had collapsed to touchdown. All he has to do is run the final 10 yards. Happy young man.
John Sander, a senior from Lakewood, Ohio, 6 feet, 180 pounds, being congratulated by his teammates, Wojak and others on the sidelines for putting the game out of reach near the final minute of play. That drive, 54 yards in 6 plays. And if you remember, Wittenberg had a 4th down situation, elected to go with a fake punt on long yardage, came up short, and in 2 minutes and 19 seconds, they have come back. Here is the offensive player of the game.
Joe Cerniak. Boy, I'll tell you, that quarterback has a Chevrolet offensive player of the game, Joe Cerniak.
Robinson kicking off a squibber, rolling down outside the 25-yard line. Picked up by Upman and returned out to the 34-yard line. The clock running and now stopped with 59 seconds. And now let's look at the Chevrolet defensive player of the game, also for Baldwin-Wallace, number 59, their fine defensive tackle, Paul Petrella, who was just all over the field today, Rick.
Boy, he certainly was, and most deserving to be the Chevrolet defensive player.
Wittenberg now with a insurmountable task, trailing 24 to 10, with 59 seconds left to go in the game. Delaney looking to throw, pressure, the ball's knocked away, and Petrella falls on it and returns it for Baldwin-Wallace. Inside the 30-yard line at the 29-yard line, and you know that Chuck Delaney has got to be dejected.
Well, I'm sure he is, but that young man has played himself a good football game, no question about it. He had a lot of responsibility on his day. He drove the putt nothing to be ashamed of. No one on either ball club. They both played well today. It's a nice thing for Baldwin-Wallace. It's the first national championship that's come into the Cleveland area for many, many years since the Cleveland Browns won it.
That was the 4th turnover for Wittenberg this afternoon, and those turnovers have hurt them. They have all been fumbles. 53 seconds remaining in the game. And they're just going to jam it ahead. Punching it out, trying to run the clock out as the clock is now down to 46. Wittenberg will take a timeout to stop it at that point. Tom Kelsey, number 15, is in at quarterback for Baldwin-Wallace now. And we'll be back for the final 46 seconds of the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl right after these messages. Steve Zabriskie and Rick Forzano with just 46 seconds left to go. Baldwin-Wallace leading 24-10. And Rick, as you said, Baldwin-Wallace has got to be thrilled. The first national championship to come into the Cleveland area. Wittenberg, of course, having won here 73 and 75. Tom Kelsey, number 15, now at quarterback, just going to fall down on the ball and let the clock run out. And now Wittenberg will take their final timeout. They stop it with 38 seconds to go and an insurmountable task ahead of them.
I'll tell you, this is a helpless feeling to have when you're Davy Marr. You know you're out of timeouts. You're down 24-10. Boy, you're just a helpless football coach at this time. But I'll tell you, both Davy Marr and Lee Tressel have done an excellent job of preparing their football teams for this ball game.
Once again, the Chevrolet defensive player, number 59, Paul Petrella of Wallace, a fine defensive tackle. Chevrolet offensive game, number 18, Baldwin-Wallace's fine quarterback, Joe Cerniak. A $1,000 scholarship from Chevrolet to Baldwin-Wallace University's General Scholarship Fund in the names of those two players for their outstanding performance in this game this afternoon. Scout Kelsey. Clock running now with 32-31 and down to 30 seconds remaining in the ball game. Baldwin-Wallace 24-10 as Roger Brown makes the play for Wittenberg. Wittenberg, obviously, Rick, as you said, has nothing to be ashamed of. These two teams, arch rivals, played each other to a 17-17 tie earlier. And we knew it was going to be a great football game.
No question about it. Anytime you're 10-0-1 coming into a ball game, you've played great football all year long. Both teams.
As the clock counts down and the Baldwin-Wallace fans exhort their pleasure at winning the Division III NCAA National Collegiate Football Championship here at the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl. We thank you for being with us this afternoon and remind you that the executive producer of NCAA college football is Roone Arledge. Today's coverage of the Wittenberg-Baldwin-Wallace game was produced by Bryce Weisman, directed by Lou Bobicelli, technical director Chet Mazurek, associate director Ronald Hawkins. Now this is Steve Zabriskie, along with Rick Forzano, saying so long from Municipal Stadium in Phenix City, Alabama. Once again, the final score, Baldwin-Wallace 24, Wittenberg University 10. Stay tuned now as we join the Georgia Tech game in progress.